All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have now joined us live for round number 3 of the Shannons Insurance NTI Racing E-Series. Of course, myself, Matty Kavanagh, and Tegan Peck will be giving you the pre-show for about half an hour on this ANZAC special, which is going out live and free over Facebook. Tegan, welcome to round number 3. How good has this racing been in this series so far?
Oh, Matty, I have been looking forward to this all week. The first 2 rounds has just been incredible. We ran at Bathurst first, and we seen the wildcard take the win. Then we ran at Brands Hatch in the UK, and the wildcard didn't get there, and Paul Mansell showed some pretty strong contention and got to the top. Now we're at round 3, and we're at Phillip Island in Victoria. I am looking forward to this, and it's just going to be interesting to see. We're already starting to see some movers and shakers through the field, and we're seeing the leaderboard really start to shake up and people starting to make their way through. So it's going to be incredible to see exactly what some people can do around here at Phillip Island. It's a very quick track, a lot of tight corners. I can't wait.
Yeah, wild card, of course, tonight, Anton Di Pasquale, of course, the Penrite Racing from the Erebus Motorsport Stables, and he has done a lot of iRacing. And he was one of the favourites in the Supercar E-Series. And so the boys have been chatting quietly behind the scenes saying he is probably the favourite for tonight. So that's put a bit of a target on him, I suppose, for Anton. But let's see how fast he is a bit later. Of course, you can see we've got the small screen up at the moment. There is an early practice that has started. We will be going full screen from 6 p.m. So about half an hour's time, of course. Bring you an ANZAC special. And we do have something special for you, ladies and gentlemen, of course. We have got both the chaplains from the Motorsports Association in. We've got Phil Zamagias as well as Adam Bergen to put something very special together for our ANZAC presentation here this weekend. Of course, April 25. A huge day. I hope everyone got up nice and early this morning and went out on their driveways and had poppies on and everything else that goes along with ANZAC Day. Hope you've enjoyed it. Of course, if you are watching the live stream, give us a shout out from where you're from, where you're watching. If you want to say anything, interact with us. Tell us what's going on. If we've got some volume levels or something like that you want to tell us about, make sure you log on and just comment on that one as well, as it looks like most of the races are starting to join in. They want to see what's going on as well. So some great new liveries on the car too this weekend, Tegan, which is what we are going to show you a little bit later, but a lot of guys have gone for the ANZAC livery.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, Matty. Is like not only the ANZAC liveries, but there's a lot of guys who are really starting to step their game up here when it comes to liveries. And the guys who rolled out for the first race meeting, some of them just rolled out with the iRacing standard thing that you can get off the website. A few other guys obviously started to get some things together, and it's been really good. The community, the NT iRacing community, has really got together, and they've been helping each other out with getting some specific liveries put together and making sure they're getting their sponsors. And I think there's probably half a dozen who have done something special for ANZAC Day, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them get around the track, because we've seen some of the photos getting around on the Facebook pages. People are sharing them, and they look incredible, and it's a real show of respect on this special day. Of course, we can't do this without our sponsors, so we send a huge shout out to all the guys who've jumped on board for the NT iRacing E-Series. Of course, brought to you by our naming rights sponsor, Shannons Insurance. The other guys jumping on board with that is Motorsports NT, Lukey's Auto Repairs, Tim Nickel Photography, Matty Cav Media bringing us all the broadcasting, and of course the guys at Vehicle Solutions, another great supporter of this series. 5 rounds in total. We're up to the 3rd one, so when we get halfway through tonight, Matty, I suppose you can call that the halfway point. We're not quite there yet, but we got 2 more rounds after this, and the action is just going to continue heating up.
Well, what do you say? After qualifying, we're halfway through, maybe? I don't know. We'll have a look at that. But yes, great to see our sponsors back. Of course, Shannons Insurance tuned in last week, said they had a great time, and we're so happy that they have stayed on board for this entire series, and hopefully we can bring them something even better tonight as we refine our skills here in our production studio, but it's getting better and better. Why are you watching and not driving, Jake? Yes, exactly. Why is he watching? Because you know why? Because he is overseeing this series. He's making sure that me and Tegan are doing our jobs and that the live stream's going out.
That is our boss. That's our boss. So he has to watch while he can, and while he's not racing and he can actually watch. He's got to keep an eye on you and I to make sure that we're delivering everything that we said we'd deliver. But Matty, this is absolutely incredible. I'm so excited for tonight. And the qualifying, we've seen a lot of mix-ups in the qualifying session. So we got about an hour of practice that starts at 6 o'clock. We'll go qualifying from 7. That'll go for about 20 minutes. So qualifying in a 20-minute period with 40 cars. Very, very much a hustle and bustle situation. The guys have got to get out there and make sure they get some consistent laps on the board nice and early on to make sure they qualify well to put themselves up the pointy end of the main race. And then, of course, our main race will start at 7:20. It's a 40-minute race, so I'm looking forward to this one, Matty. I want to see exactly how Paul Mansell will get it going. I know he's good mates with Anton De Pasquale, so it'll be interesting to see exactly how he's been tuning in and watching what Anton's been doing on the V8 series, and exactly what he's going to try and serve up to beat him here at Phillip Islands.
We'll try and tune into Anton a bit later and see if he's got anything to say about Paul's challenge. Anyway, our champion at the moment. But just doing a little bit of the maths there. So Phillip Islands, about 4.4 kilometres long. Last week we were obviously at Brands Hatch in the UK. That was just under 4 kilometres, and we started round one with 6.2 kilometres at Mount Panorama. So at 4.4 kilometres, the average time here, a good time here is a 1:28, 1:29, but I'd say probably most of our field are 1:30, 1:31 with the experience we have here in iRacing. Doing that, 20 minutes of qualifying, they're probably only going to get 9 laps in, and that's if they stay out the whole time, no one gets in their way, 40 cars on track. So a slightly bigger track than last week, but you're right, it's going to be tight in qualifying, and look for that 1:30 mark. Anything under a 1:30 is going to be pretty quick. I can tell you in the practice session up at the moment, we do have a few in the 1:29s and 1:28. So that will come down to the track conditions. I know guys have been struggling with the setup of the car. They've been sending them out a little bit earlier, how we're going to set them up. So we had practice last night as well, and some of the guys, they're just struggling, coming off the track a bit. I do notice on this one, the guys saying the tyres are going off, Tegan. So very harsh.
Yeah, you're spot on there, Matty. I mean, the track itself has a lot of very tight corners. So, you talk about you get through turn 1 and then get into turn 2. That's a bit of a tight corner itself. But there's a couple of hairpins on this track, Honda and then MG. So both of those are actually some quite tight corners that you get to about second gear in as you're rolling on through. So that's where you start to talk about these guys are really starting to push their cars and want to make sure that they're moving forwards. They're trying to gain in on that person in front of them. And that's what really starts to bring on the tyre wear. So not only is fuel a factor in this, that they have to really make sure that, around any sort of incidents and safety cars that come out on track, they get their fuel, but also that they're conserving tyres and they can actually make it through. I know there was a couple of side series that happened early on in the week, and the guys really started to notice it towards the tail end of their 40-minute race, that their tyres were really starting to come off, and they had to almost go into a little bit of a limp mode where they had to just sort of roll on through most of the corners just to try and make sure that they didn't actually lose their cool in the corners and completely lose the race. So this is going to be an interesting one, and I guess some of the guys with the more experience will be able to conserve their tyres early on in the race and then maybe push it harder as the laps get on.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see what they do on pit strategy too. We know Paul Mansell in race number 1 tried a pit strategy, and it didn't really pay off for him because at the end of the race he had to conserve fuel and he lost a couple of positions, whereas other guys just waited that little bit longer. Now it's going to depend if we get a safety car, when we get a safety car, whether the guys are going to come in early or not. We do know through some of our experience this week, we've logged on to a couple of other series and watched them. They've done a very similar, so we're looking at about 26 laps. If we go about a minute 30, probably 26 laps, maybe we'll complete the 27th. Depends on the safety car, depends on everything that happens on the race, of course. But a 40-minute race, about 26 laps, they generally need to fill up some point there, and they'll make it. So depending on how much fuel that they've allowed them to have before they start the race, they can set this in our simulator. They can simulate exactly how much they're allowed to have on. And if they can go maybe to halfway, they'll get it done easy. Otherwise, if they've got to pit early, they may only just make the end of the race, and then we're not going to see the celebration burnouts.
Yeah, you're spot on. That was part of the strategy that was going on with a lot of the guys in the early series during this week, was that they wanted to make sure that they pitted late enough so they could not only finish the race but get the burnouts done. So I think that's pretty incredible, and it shows the guys in Darwin and what they want to be able to do. So as you said, fuel strategy going to be a huge thing here, and of course with a fixed setup with this iRacing series, each track does have a particular fixed setup there, which includes fuel. So fuel is a part of that whole deal. And when you do your pitting and take fuel back on, you're actually also only allowed to take on so many amount of liters. You can actually reduce the amount of liters that you want to take on, but you can't increase. So you can't just go early on like lap 3 or something and just put in a heap of liters of fuel and then get through to the end of the race. You actually got to take on the set amount. So yeah, definitely, as you said, Matty, it's something that is going to come into play, and the guys are really going to have to make sure they know what they're doing when they're pitting. Yeah, we're going to have to check the pit times there. I do have access to some of the pit timing, and if we can get that right, depending on some of the guys probably up the front who are really going to take the pit strategy, and we might be able to pull those times up, and might be those extra couple of seconds. I know if you don't pull in straight in the pits,
it does add a little bit of time to your pit stop. So it's going to come down to the guys driving really, really well. They're going to need to make sure their pit stops are spot on and how much fuel they're willing to take on. Paul Mansell, very, very experienced. Don't go past Jordan Cox either. So maybe what we do is we'll bring up the championship points at the moment. Let's just have a quick look at this one. So at the moment, let's start at number 20th. JD Luke, he's sort of been sitting around the NT go-karter. He's sort of had some bad luck, I suppose, with some accidents throughout this series and hasn't been able to just stay up that pointy end. But he doesn't do too bad in qualifying usually.
Yeah, for sure. You're dead right there. 19th place currently on a total of 90 points is Michael Schroeder. His fun fact for this series was that his name rhymes with Maya Sharona. So now every time I hear that song, that's all I can sing is Michael Schroeder. But he's done fairly well in this series. He's been reasonably consistent. Had a bit of trouble at Bathurst, but managed to pull back some points there and get in the 19th spot. So that is your 19th spot sitter, Michael Schroeder.
Yeah, David Worrell there, obviously in 18th. Of course, the Velex ZB Commodore, also from Queanbeyan Diesel Services, Penrite, RHD, Kirtles Customs, DBA and K&N Filter. So he's down here in the ACT where I'm actually sitting commentating tonight, sending this broadcast out. So it's good to see a fellow ACT person, or Queanbeyan just over the border. But David Worrell, yeah, he's been sort of running mid-pack as well, but he's been collecting the points. And that's what it really is for these guys, probably from 11 to 20. They've just been in there collecting the points each round. As we move on to Damien McCartney, he's got a new livery for this weekend. So ex-Territorian, used to do a lot of photography at the Speedway for you guys. Even jumped in for the commentary for a bit, Tegan.
Yeah, definitely jumped in and had a bit of a go. He was a great commentator when he was around there, jumped on the infield and had a bit of fun with the drivers. So it was great to have Damien in Darwin and join in the Speedway community. 16th spot is Michael Gore on 104 points. He's another guy who's been fairly consistent. He's part of the Breaking Late podcast group, sponsored by McGee's Property Service and Lukey's Autos. Then we go on to 15th spot. That's Michael Freeman on 119 points. So Michael Freeman, he's been another guy, fairly consistent. These guys in the top 20, I think, definitely are definitely been the consistent guys. There's a couple of guys who sit up a bit higher, who've jumped from the tail end of the field and made their way up into nearly the top 10.
Isn't it very interesting, though? Michael Freeman, obviously sponsored by Sky 5 Height Safety Compliance Company. He is normally does a lot of track days down at Wakefield and Maroolin, so that's not far from the Canberra. That's about an hour away, a couple of hours out of Sydney. Yet we go back down to people like Dane McCartney, probably not as much racing experience in real life, more probably iRacing experience compared to the guys. So there's a lot of guys here with a lot of actual road racing experience or dirt racing experience, and there's a lot of guys with a lot of iRacing experience, and they're all jumbled up. So it's just interesting to see. As we move on to Callan Gear, who's in 14th position, of course, in the ZB Commodore, all thanks to LNS off-road and LNS suspension. Of course, he's only just started iRacing. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so he's only been on for a couple of weeks. He's obviously done some go-karts. He's only a young fella too. I think, how old is Callan Gear? He's only about 16 or 17, I think.
No. He's about my age, mate. He's not that young. Not that young anymore.
Where am I reading?
He would be.
Well, he was
when
he was racing
by now.
He was when he was racing. See, I'm just reading some of my notes here early. Obviously, I've got that mixed up.
Yeah.
But,
Callan, he's another one of the guys whose partner's very excited about iRacing, and I say that very sarcastically.
Okay, then we look on to Kevin Norman. Of course, there's two Normans in there. Kevin driving the Commodore in 13th position. Of course, probably been a bit unlucky to be down in 13th because he is quite fast. Him and his brother are very, very fast when it comes to iRacing. A lot of go-karting experience. Of course, brought to you by Flat Out Karts and the Breaking Late Podcasting. Of course, if you see the guys with the Breaking Late Podcast on the side of their car, all go-karters, a lot of it in territory. And Kevin Norman in 13th position. We move back to Ray Oliver. Now, Ray Oliver's one to talk about who's sitting in 12th. Now, he did really well in the first round. He actually qualified 8th and unfortunately had some incidents in racing, so he didn't actually make it up in the top 10. In race number 2, he qualified 5th and actually finished 4th. So he made a big move at round number 2.
Yeah, you're dead right. He started off the series after the first round. He sat 36th on point. And after the points gathered in the second round, he's actually made his way up to 12th, as you said. He's been doing sim racing for a while. He's sponsored by JP Sim Shed and Jink Shifters and Abruzzi Goodyear Auto Care. He's been only iRacing for about 1 year, but he's done a lot of sim racing previous to that. And he's only really had RC car racing experience prior to that. So him and Kevin Norman, two of the movers and shakers within the leadership board. Kevin Norman moved from 28th to 13th. And then, as we said, Ray Oliver, 36 through to 12. Dylan Thomas is your next spot. He sits in 11th position. So he is currently sitting on 129. Got a fair bit of racing experience. He's done 20 years of speedway racing. He's only been doing about 2 years of iRacing, mainly dirt tracks, but he's a semi-retired racing and now enjoying a bit of time with the kids in racing and just doing a bit of iRacing for a bit of fun. So Dylan Thomas doing fairly well for himself in 11th spots. We move on to 10th spot, another consistent player in this, which is Dylan Sates. He's sitting in 10th spot. Not sure if he's joining us for tonight here, Matty, because I did see earlier on that he had said that he was having some issues with his whole setup and the pedals that he was using actually failed on him last night. So hopefully he was able to get something sorted today. But Dylan, of course, is sponsored by Performance Gym in Darwin. So great to have Dylan jumping on board. His dad, Radek, done a fair bit of racing in Darwin. So Dylan jumping on the iRacing scene, sitting in 10th overall on 137 points.
Yeah, Zach Hudson in 9th on 158 points. And like you say, the sim community will get behind Dylan Sates helping out. But Zach Hudson, obviously, in the Mustang, all thanks to more trailers. Hudson panel beaters. Steve Jones floor sanding. He's only been on iRacing for about 4 to 5 months, but plenty of years go-karting experience. So he's in 9th spot at the moment. Then you get Matty Burns, the Territorian, all thanks to Electric NT, driving around in a Mustang. Of course, he's got a few years of racing on experience on iRacing, but plenty of go-karting experience. And he won the karting tag restricted light class first year in karting in 2015. So we know he can actually drive in the real world. Let's see how he goes tonight. He's been doing quite well, actually, finishing around in the top 10s and qualifying up there as well. Jake Burgess is a man who's been hovering around in the top 10 too, just on the cusp of the top 10, Mr. Burgess. Obviously doing a lot of behind the scenes in this series also, all thanks to Lukey's Auto Repairs, Tim Nicol Photography, Hot 100 Mix 104.9 on his ZB Commodore. He's got a brand new livery for this weekend. I know that. Obviously, the 2019 IPRA NT champion. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes tonight. We just having a look. He finished really well, actually, in the first race where he started. He got up to 9th position. He was down somewhere around 20 in qualifying, but came up to 9th. And then last week he qualified 10th, and he managed to make his way up to... He stayed in 10th, for Jake Burgess. So he's just staying in there collecting points, which is quite good. Michael Halkitis, obviously in the Mustang, all thanks to the HB Group, the Halkitis brothers, Concrete Blocks and Pavers, and Yingwadi Civil and Construction. He's doing a few laps while he's listening to his classical music getting around.
Loves a bit of classical music. On to the next spot, which is the other the other Norman brother, I should say. He's sitting in 5th position on 215 points. So another one of the guys who's sponsored by Flat Out Cars, Breaking Lake Podcast, and Lukey's Auto Repairs. Been mixing it with the top markers. Hasn't quite been able to get there into the podium. So it'll be interesting to see if Nathan's done a fair bit of moving and shaking around Phillip Island and whether he'll be able to get up on the podium tonight. So then we move on to 4th place, which brings up Bradley Vaughan. So Bradley, 15 years of age, sponsored by Angusan Motors. He's had about 1 year of sim racing. His first car he runs with the Improved Production South Australia crew, and he's running with a Toyota 86 Series racer, and he's been karting for about 6 years. So Bradley Vaughan doing fairly well. Really, really consistent racer on the iRacing scene. So we'll see that guy probably sit in this top 5 for the entire series unless something major goes wrong there. On to 3rd position, that is the 57 of Braden O'Cassie. He's running a ZB Commodore. He's one of the Alice Springs entries. He's the Jaws Racing Team, Jaws Contracting, Central Australian Sideloader Haulage, and BizCom. He's been iRacing for about 6 months, and he's done a bit of dirt kart and off-road racing. So that's your 3rd position sitter right now. I'll leave you to the top two,
mate.
Matty.
What do we say about the top 2? Jordan Cox running in 2nd on 288 points, and slightly in front is Paul Mansell on 209. Now, these guys have swapped positions. In our first race, our wildcard, Bryce Fullwood, took the win at Mount Panorama, Bathurst. But Jordan Cox was 2nd, Paul was 3rd. Then we go to race 2, and Paul Mansell qualifies 1, Jordan Cox qualifies 2. They finished 1st and 2nd too. So Paul Mansell finished 1st, Jordan Cox 2nd. So they are neck and neck in this championship. So these are the ones to watch, I think. Actually, what we might do now, ladies and gentlemen, of course, is our special ANZAC edition too of our round number 3. And everyone's been putting a lot in behind the scenes to make this happen. So what we are going to do is we are going to bring up a couple of our racers actually at the moment who are obviously in the forces and involved. First one we'd like to talk about here is... I need to take this iRacing down is what I need to do because that's what's actually getting in the way of what's going on. And we need to bring up Evan Cookliness, who's actually...
Would you like him? Would you like him into the chat now, Matty Cav?
I reckon bring him in. See if he's available to come and have a chat with us. Of course, the ANZAC spirit, well and truly, very close to our hearts here to improve production, Northern Territory, because we do have guys racing. We've got officials. We've got people who are just part of the association, former, present people who are in the forces. They take their family time to do this, and they come down, and now they're part of our community in the racing world. Evan, you just joined us on the live stream. How are you going, mate? He might be waiting for his push to talk. I don't know. You've dragged him in. You've dragged him into our live stream, and he might not be.
Sorry, mate. I've still got it on push to talk. I do apologise. I was just out on the track before.
Mate, what a special day for you, ANZAC Day, of course. You're still currently serving in the forces. What does ANZAC Day mean to you?
ANZAC Day can mean a lot of things to different soldiers. It can be a time of reflection, a time to mourn, but it can mean many things. It's a really good opportunity for a lot of soldiers, past and present, to meet up, have a yarn about past deployments or just past events on exercises or just serving in general together.
Yeah, no, and it's great you've joined into the Improved Production Racing Association Northern Territory. How long have you been racing, or how long have you been sort of part of that scene?
To be honest, I've actually been quite new to it. I only just started doing time attack up here in Northern Territory last year in the my little Nissan 350Z. But I used to do some non-competitive time attack in Brisbane at Queensland Raceway there as well.
Look, mate, we can't thank you for your time here on the live stream. Just to give us a few words about what it means to you to be obviously part of ANZAC Day. And I do have to ask, how are you enjoying the series?
Oh, I'm absolutely loving it, to be honest. There's a lot of different styles of drivers. Definitely a lot of different class of driving as well. You can definitely see at the front pack. There's a lot of really, really competitive and really smart racers out there, and that's actually good to be racing around them and actually learning something, which is really cool.
Well, thank you for your time tonight, Evan. We're going to let you get back to your practice session that's up at the moment and get those times down. Hopefully, we'll see you in the top 10.
No worries. Thanks, Matty.
All right, we'll move on as we go through some other people in our group who have actually been in the forces before. Of course, one familiar name that's known around the improved production scene is Barry Smith, who served 10 years in the Navy, of course, as an electronics radio technician. And look at him. He's got the brand new livery for this weekend as well, Tegan.
Yeah, it's a pretty fantastic looking car. He had a fairly similar looking car to his real race car that he runs around Hidden Valley, and great to see exactly what he's throwing on the car. Barry, I'm not sure if you can hear us and you're joining us on the live stream, but if you are, great to have you here with us.
Yeah, thanks, guys. How you going?
Yeah, great, mate. How have you been going with the iRacing NTE series so far?
Oh, mate, I tell you what, it's a lot different sitting here in this chair than... It's a lot different, as you probably just saw. I crashed off the track, but yeah, it's missing the seat feel.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're used to seeing you up the pointy end of the field when it comes to IPRA in the Northern Territory, and we haven't really seen you up in that top 10 yet.
No, mate, I started sort of the day that this thing started off. That was my first taste of it, and then, what I'm missing is the seat feel. Just trying to get used to using the visual cues and what you're hearing. That's probably the toughest bit.
All right, well, we are going to move on to our next person. Barry, thanks for joining in, of course, serving our country for 10 years. Fantastic to have you here in the NTE series. Next up is Richard Wilson, too, who was a medic in the Army and did a lot of, has now joined Careflight. So this guy just gives and gives and gives, Tegan.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just scanning through to see if he is on our Discord chat and whether we can drag him into this. I don't believe he's sitting in there unless...
That's all right. That's all right.
I can find him. I'll drag him on.
You got to bring him in. Let's put him up on here and on the live stream and get a chat with him. How's it going, Richie? He's probably got on press to talk to. I know the guys have got it press to talk in the system that we are using to communicate behind the scenes. So it's good to see Richard Wilson, of course, is joined us also like a previous member of the Army. So the ANZAC Day meaning a lot to him. Richard, if you're there and you can talk to us, mate, how is ANZAC Day going for you today?
Yeah, pretty good. Had a pretty eventful day.
We hope you didn't get any call-outs today. You weren't on your Careflight chopper today?
Nah, I wasn't working today, day off. I'm back on shift tomorrow.
So how did you approach ANZAC Day today, obviously with the COVID-19 restrictions?
So today we did our dawn service in the driveway. Had a bit of rum with our coffee and listened to the radio. It was good.
And you're still drinking the same coffee.
Nah. I've finished that one.
Oh, mate, well, it's we're so glad you are part of this series, and we do want to thank you for your time in the Army and what you do in Care Flight. So you're just a great guy. You give a lot back to the community, mate, and we're just glad that you could be part of the NTE series.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we might actually do now is we are going to cross over. Earlier this week, our chaplains, Phil Zamagias and Adam Bergen, went out and did something very, very special for this ANZAC Day tribute. Please, ladies and gentlemen, tune in, turn the volume up, and let's hear some words from our chaplain.
Thanks, Matt and Tegan. It's been a real privilege to be able to share a prayer with you guys online through our live stream. And today for ANZAC Day, we've got something special. We're going to lead you in an ANZAC Day service. And I'm joined today by my fellow chaplain, Phil Zamagias, who's going to lead part of the service. Thank you, Phil.
Hi everyone. We gather virtually this year to remember the sacrifice of the men of Australia and New Zealand who lived, fought and died together at Gallipoli. We also remember the sacrifice of the men and women of Australia and New Zealand and our allies in other conflicts and in keeping the peace over the last century. In this spirit, therefore, I'd like to read the following passage from John's Gospel, chapter 15. Jesus said, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends, if you do what I command you." Therefore we remember those brave men and women who gave everything they had for their friends and for great and noble ideals. We honour those who have served our nations and the great ideals of peace, justice and freedom to which they are committed. Those who have died and those who have served and live, yet show us the true way of service and love, the love that does not count the cost. May we have the courage and strength to continue to protect the freedom of all peoples in justice and peace. May we be worthy of the legacy given to us by those who have died. Therefore we now pause in the stillness of the day to remember. Would you join me in the ode? They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Please join me in a prayer. Our Father in heaven, you give life to all people and provide all good things in this world that you have created. We thank you for the example of those who are willing to lay down their lives so that others may live. In times of war, natural disaster, famine, flood or disease, your spirit has motivated people to go beyond the call of duty. We thank you for our Defence Force members, past and present, who helped lay the foundation for this wonderful country in which we live and strive to maintain peace. We thank you for the heroes amongst us in the medical profession who put themselves in danger every day so that COVID-19 may be defeated. For the police and emergency services personnel working to keep our communities safe, and for the leaders in public life who are tasked with making wise decisions for the good of our nation. Grant us patience that in the midst of this crisis, we too might take up our cross and follow the example of Jesus, who didn't seek his advantage, but the benefit of others. For their benefit he humbled himself and even died that others may be saved. We thank you that today we have the benefit of technology that allows us to enjoy our motorsport. And as we gather for this virtual sport, may we be mindful of those who are struggling and help us to be the answer to their prayers for help. I ask these things in the powerful name of our Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Yes, great words from our chaplains, of course, Adam Bergen and Phil Zamagias, who are just such supporters of motorsport in the Northern Territory and always come down and invest their time. But ladies and gentlemen, the Shannons Insurance NTI Racing E-Series, we do go full live screen now as the practice moves in from 6 p.m. We've got an hour left of practice. Well, 58 minutes now. We went a little bit over there, but it was such a great service, and we just want to pay tribute to all of our ANZACs out there, past and present. If we hope you've done your bit today. Tegan, I tell you what, I got up early this morning. We went out there. We did the dawn service via the TV. You know, it was broadcast everywhere. Fantastic to watch the sunrise come up. And what a way to finish it tonight with the Shannons Insurance NTI Racing E-Series.
Yeah, you're spot on there, Matty. I unfortunately live in an apartment in the city, so couldn't quite do the driveway service, but I was up nice and early and out on the balcony, and they actually did a pretty cool thing in Darwin where they set some speakers off in the amphitheatre, and you could hear the service across Darwin City. So that was pretty great in itself, and was listening into that and tuning into ABC radio. So yeah, fantastic. And great to have not only Adam Bergen as our chaplain on for the entire series, but Phil Zamagias joining us as well for this special edition, round number 3 of the Shannons Insurance NTI Racing E-Series at Phillip Island. I can't wait. We're about to get into the practice session for the next hour, and then we will roll into the qualifying and see exactly how the guys are going to line up when we get to that main 40-minute race. Just see the 76 rolling across the screen right now. Let's have a look at who that is. That is Mitch Strzelecki. I apologise. I didn't have my names up on the screen then to get through. Of course, we are just getting through this online racing. A bit of a challenge to be able to commentate.
Obviously,
And,
JD Luke there too, and the other of the Break Late podcast cars, of course, like we say. Look at the liveries these guys have done. They're all paying tribute to the ANZACs. Such great to get so many races behind this weekend. Of course, we are racing on ANZAC Day 2020 in COVID restrictions. That's why we've gone to iRacing. But, you know, I can't see this going anywhere, Tegan, because we're having a great time doing this. We've got 56 minutes left of practice. I need to talk about some of the times already. We said a 1:30 was about an average lap. If you get in the 120s, high 120s, you're doing well. Well, here we go. Nathan Norman's a 128. Kevin Norman, his brother, right behind him in the Commodore, a 128. Callan Gear, a 128. Matty Burns, a 129. Braden O'Cass, who's right up the top of the points at the moment, a 129. Bradley Vaughan, a 129. Ray Oliver, a 129. Zach Hudson, a 129. JD Luke, as you can see in the white car on screen, the number 97, he's a 129. Dylan Saints, the young gun, a 129 for him. Michael Schroeder, a 129. Jake Burgess, Michael Halkitis, Michael Halkitis at 129 as well. So lots of guys in those high 120s. We haven't seen our wildcard Anton De Pasquale come on yet, though.
Yeah, we talked about the top 20 in the points standing just before. So just talking about Mitch Strzelecki, he sits outside that top 20. So he's got 80 points currently. So he's sitting in 21st position. So not far off being in that top 20. There's a few other guys who we could see start to break through the other series that's been run by a couple of the guys who have been in the NT and racing who wanted a little bit more experience before they run into this main race. They've been running a series. There's been about 15 or 16 drivers who've been competing in that. I've been one of them, and I've been down the back the whole time. But a couple of guys who've been leading that series who we might see get up towards the top end of this as we get through the night is sitting in 22nd and 23rd, which is Tom Orton in the 77 and then Zdeněk Radomski, that is, in the 96. So those two cars been quite consistent in the other series. And Zdeněk moved up a lot of positions in round number 2 at Brands Hatch. Tommy Orton had a bit of an issue. He started off fairly high in the points, had a power failure in round number 2, dropped back a number of positions. So he was fairly consistent early on. So we'll see exactly where he can go. Looks like our wild card has joined us on track. Anton De Pasquale puts a time together of a 1:28.202.
Yeah, he's come down and just laid it out, isn't he? He is going to be the king of iRacing, I think. They said he was going to be a favourite in the Supercar E-Series. What we might do is I'm just going to look for his number up here and see if we can find him on track at the moment. Of course, more cars joining the series as we go, as the day goes on. I mean, you can see the numbers starting to appear. Guys are just joining as the qualifying. Anton is not on track at the moment. That's why we can't find him out on track. Just looking for some more information there. The number 97 there. JD Luke makes it. Looks like there's someone just off the track there, but the Breaking Late podcast entry, like we say, JD Luke not doing too bad at the moment, sitting down in what looks like about 10th position when it comes to times as we go through our little leaderboard on there. Of course, the Jaws contract entries, the boys from Alice Springs, they've been stepping up to the plate. I tell you what, is that the man that I actually want to talk about? I think that might be Braden O'Cass there, the number 57, as it goes off him. We might actually try and bring him back up on screen because Braden O'Cass is a young gun out of Alice Springs who's been doing really well. Normally races in the off-road, so he can actually steer a vehicle. We know he can steer really, really well. But Jaws contract, and good to see there's about 3 guys from Alice Springs involved in this series, and I'm so glad that they've got on. I do know Josh, the commentator down there, has joined in again to see the live stream, and a big shout out to him, and we might even try and get him on next week. I'll have a bit of a chat with him, but unfortunately, we've given him the commentator's curse, Tegan, like we always do, and off track he goes.
And Matty Cav, that is going to be an interesting corner there in itself. Huge hairpin there with a big runoff, and that's one that you start to really get some momentum. You get up to about 5th or 6th gear, hooking around the nice sweeping bend there, and then you basically got to start getting onto your braking point straight away and downshifting through your gears, and you get through to about second gear and roll through that corner. But if you don't quite get your braking point right, then you'll actually roll off that runoff. On that series that we did earlier on, and you and I did some testing during that session, we seen a lot of the guys who are coming into that hairpin just completely run off. They either run down that bitumen runway or they go off into the dirt, and it takes a good 15 to 20 seconds to be able to get yourself back on track.
Couple of people jumping out. Richard Wilson we caught up with earlier, of course, the number 33, the Mustang, out on track now. You can see he's gone full Army livery. He has paid his respects there, of course. Was a serving member for quite a number of years in the Army, in the medic region, like we say, now working for Careflight. So great bloke, and good to see him out on track at the moment too. Just looking through some of them. Matty Burns is not doing too bad at the moment. 5th fastest. We'll go through some of the guys. Braden O'Cass, Bradley Vaughan, the Ray Oliver in 8th. So he's back up there too. Ray Oliver's very quick. Zach Hudson also had a better time in round number 1, but round number 2, maybe not quite as lucky. JD Luke now pushed out to number 10. He's 1.1 seconds behind Anton De Pasquale. Michael Halkitis just outside the 10 on 11. Dylan Sates in 12. Michael Schroeder in 13th. We'll probably see a few more cars now on track. Jake Burgess in 14th. Sammy McGrade in the X-Drift Industries empowered livery on that Mustang for him. Michael Gore in 16. Then we go back to Tommy Orton, the high power NT entry. Him and Nick Sutton, obviously the high power teammates. And like we say, watch this, the number 77 for the burnouts at the end of the night. Mitchell Strzelecki in 18th. Damien McCartney down in 19th. They are starting to get on board. Steve Sanderson in 20th. Tim Nichols in 21. He's probably, we've got some prizes, don't we? We've got Hard Luck Awards. So all thanks to Vehicle Solutions NT, I do believe is a Hard Luck Award. So we've got some of these things to give out, and Tim Nichol's been fairly unlucky. I think just about every time he's been on a run, he's been taken out by someone accidentally, of course, but it's just been unfortunate. So Rossi Johnson is the next one there in 22nd. We go back to Nick Sutton. There he is, the High Power NT teammate in 23rd. Barry Smith in 24th, who we heard from earlier. Dave Worrell in the Velix Commodore in 25th. Then we go 26th, Evan Cooklinus. And Brad Stott in 27th has joined us in the, well, what is he? He's the Farmers Union Iced Coffee ZB Commodore.
You wonder with that, are Farmers Union sponsoring him, or is he sponsoring Farmers Union, Matty Gav?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's probably paying his own bill. Good to see Danny Probert's joined us tonight. Of course, his birthday today. Congratulations, Danny. How old are you? Too old. That's it. Too old. He's not actually in the iRacing series. I was surprised he didn't go out and buy a sim. I know that some of the boys are probably going to get him around to sit in their seat very shortly, and let's hope he doesn't get the bug, because I'd hate to see him out on track here. I reckon he'd probably go pretty good against a few of these guys when it comes to the sim racing. So, big happy birthday to Danny Probert. I think Zdeněk Radomski's got something special for you tonight, and we will get in on that as well a bit later. So we'll just...
there's Richard Wilson's car on screen now, the Army livery on board, flashing his lights as he comes out. Fantastic looking car, really, isn't it? Still got the nice rainbow streaks on the back. Looks like Barry Smith coming up behind him, going to put a pass on him. So we'll see as these guys start to put some times on the board, see who's going to be up that pointy end of the qualifying session, the 20-minute qualifying session, which will start at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, so the Darwin Automobile Care entry of Barry Smith, the number 87, also X-Drift Industries on the headlights. Good to see how the guys have really got around these liveries, and a lot of help coming from people like Paul Mansell. I know Tommy Orton's been doing a lot of them, and I believe it was one of the Normans also helping out. And then a few of the guys have figured out how to do this metallic livery, which is very exciting to see, and I love how we've got the Dawn set up here in our track. It's really, we're paying a lot of respect to ANZAC Day. We're having the dawn look in our settings, so we're early morning racing. It's nice, cool conditions on track. Looks like Brad Stott's just gone off there in the background there, but we're just chasing Barry Smith at the moment. We might be able to actually bring up what time he is on this lap, and we'll see if we can see what is going on. So Barry Smith, the number 87, currently sitting in 24th. Here he is, a 103 as he comes around.
Yeah, the last lap he put on the board was a 132, so we'll see if he can advance on that one.
Very tricky here as they go around that. It's almost like a 270-degree corner, isn't it? And then come out here in the nice little sweeper there as the car accelerates. Last couple of corners now as they head back onto the main straight. This is a nice long sweeper there. They're going to be full throttle now as they head towards the start-finish line. And let's see what he does. Pulls a 133.4 and keeps him in 24th, unfortunately, at the moment for the ZB Commodore. But I'm sure Barry Smith is starting to get the hang of this iRacing. Like you said, you don't have the seat feel, and that's what he was looking for before, was the seat feel.
Yeah, having a look at his times on his lap results, looks like his best time he's been able to produce so far has been a 131.592. So Barry Smith, only a couple of seconds off the pace, but an experienced racer like himself might be able to start to squeeze that back in. Callan Gear in the LNS Off-Road 54 car pops up on our screen now. One of the guys sitting in the top end of the point score. So having a look at him, he sits in position number 4. Sorry, he was in the top 15. He's in position number 14 at the moment. So he's done fairly well for himself, only new to iRacing, but has managed to pull himself together and get some decent points on track.
Yeah, and you got to remember, he qualified 7th at our Brands Hatch one in round number 2. So obviously he is pretty good at qualifying. Like we say, this is only practice. So we're not qualifying at the moment. We're in practice, but it's going to depend on exactly what can happen.
His best time on the track in this practice session so far has been a 128.731. So we'll see exactly how he fares through the qualifying session and what he can do, whether he can move his way forward. He's currently 3rd, as we can see on screen right now. See, as he's rolling through the track, what sort of time he can put together on this lap.
Yeah, let's just watch him for this one. I mean, we could go around everyone, but we can see everyone on track. There's Zdeněk Radomski in front. Let's go over to him in a second, because while we've got Danny Probert just tuned in, I'm sure Zdenek's got something very special to show him. He already knows about it, but we're going to bring it up for the viewers. And the good thing is I can change some of the camera angles around this, so we can get a good shot of that. Like you say, though, Callan Gear on track at the moment, qualified really well last round at Brands Hatch in the UK, the LNS Off-Road entry, the ZB Commodore. Just going around. Here we go. We just clocked the minute. We got a few more corners to go. No, it's a big off there. Unfortunately, drops a wheel off. Like you say, that's the one where you've got to really get hard on the brakes, unsettles the car, and drops that wheel off, and it's all over. So let's head over and see Mr. Zdeněk Radomski. I'm going to do this one just to shout out to my mate Danny Pro. But look at that. Happy birthday, Danny. Look, a big smiling face on the bonnet. How good is Zdeněk? Loves his mates.
And how handsome is Danny, really, when you look at him? Danny Probert is one of the guys from Darwin Automobile Care. We see him in a lot of the cars that get around, not only Hidden Valley, but on the iRacing scene. And great supporter, XD Drift, on the back of Zdeněk's car as well. Obviously, Danny's drift car. And we will see Sam McGrade later on, who also is running the livery that Danny Probert generally runs on his drift car on the XD Falcon. And Zdeněk, great mates with Danny Probert, and it's great to have him on board watching in live. And a big happy birthday, mate. I'm sure you are absolutely enjoying yourself.
What I love about this is he's moved that photo of him on the bonnet to the rear. So now he's on the, he's
not taking it away.
Back bumper. No, he's not taking it away. So he's happy. So you got to laugh at that when you come up behind him. And then this guy just loves putting everyone, you're on the side wing. That's what I like.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah.
Yeah, you're on the right side. And then you go left side and you get a photo of me. So, he's just about put the whole crew on there, I think. So he's doing a good job. He's keeping everyone smiling out there at the moment. That's what I like about Zdeněk. He's always keeping everyone smiling.
The iSpark Electrical and Fire entry of Zdeněk Radomski. Definitely one of the more fantastic liveries that we have at every round. I know he's working every single round. As soon as we finished up racing, he's basically looking, I think by about 11 o'clock the night after round 2 at Brands Hatch, I had already got a message with the different pictures that he'd placed on the car for round number 3 here at Phillip Island. Shannons Insurance NT iRacing E-Series. It's great to have you on board. If you are joining us, make sure you give us a shout out on the live stream. Let us know where you are joining in from. And let us know any live stream comments, any points that you want to bring up. I know we do have a comment there about where one of our banners are, so we will look to get that sorted and try and do what we can as we get on through.
That's a technical issue that we're not going to promise anything during racing.
Yeah, that's a technical issue.
But I know who that comment's from, and I don't really care.
Yeah, that's only you and I on this whole thing, so I can't do a whole lot other than sit here and stare at the screen. You've got to do the whole lot, and I don't think I can talk enough to keep you going. Oh, Zdeněk Radomski takes a big spin there, gives us a view of both you and I, Matty Cav. Just putting the faces everywhere. All right, let's change over and see who's on track again. All right, this looks like the number 3. It is going to be Norman now as he heads off. The commentators put him on, and he's straight off Kevin Norman in the Commodore. That's how I call them apart. Kevin's got the Commodore. Nathan's got the Mustang. So, there you
Commodore
go.
Kev.
Having a look at the standings there, Matty Cav. The Norman brothers, exactly where we thought we would see them. So, Anton De Pasquale sitting at the top of the standings for this practice session. Of course, practice session not getting towards anything here other than just getting some lap times around the track. It all comes down to the qualifying session and then the main race. But Anton De Pasquale, your wildcard entry for round number 3 of the Shannons Insurance NT iRacing E-Series is leading the standings right now. Nathan Norman sitting in position number 2 with a 0.166 gap. Then we go back to Kevin Norman, Callan Gear, and Paul Mansell. That's your top 5 of the times for this practice session so far as the track just starts to get busy now.
You've got to remember this is practice, so it's not actual qualifying. We are talking about what order they're in. These are the times I said I should say that about a 1:30 is probably going to be our average time, and a 1:20 is a really good time. Well, I think the top 15 now are in that 1:20 region. Top 14 actually. So we've got a fast field here tonight. Obviously, everyone's got their head around the track conditions. Obviously, they can play around with the brake bias in the simulator as well. Need to be a shout out. I can see that looks like Rhonda and Tony have joined us from Vehicle Solutions NT. Don't forget Vehicle Solutions NT coming on board as well as Shannons Insurance for this NTE series. And if you want to go and get something modified, specialised in a vehicle, that's what they do at Vehicle Solutions NT. Of course, they do wheelchair access, disability vehicle modifications, driver training vehicle modifications, seating, seat belts, child restraints. So if you're not sure about your child restraint, go there and check it out. Commercial vehicle fit outs, like all your tools in the back if you want to get your van fitted out, all the safety barriers, all that sort of stuff. Vehicle Solutions NT is where you go. Great supporters of this series. And he's used to run the RC racing up there too, Tony. So he knows a lot of these guys. Him and Tim Nichols, Paul Mansell, they all used to be in the RC cars there. So good to see him get on board. Don't forget, we've got prizes as well this now. We've got $100 for first place of each round. $60 for second place of each round, $40 for third place of each round. Then we've got the Hard Luck Award for the series. Timbo, I hate to say it, you're up the top of my list because you've had a fair bit. The Shannons Insurance.
The only luck you've got is hard.
I tell you what, this one's going to be a hard one. The Shannons Insurance fan favourite livery. So stay tuned to social media because we've only got 2 rounds left and we're going to have to put this out there.
I think Zenik must be thinking that the fan favourite livery is actually the commentator's favourite livery.
Yeah. It's not going to.
He's put you and I on there for every single round, and I don't think he gets that we're not actually picking that one.
No, and you know what's going to be hard? The guys have changed. I think this is round number 3, and I think pretty much everyone's had at least 2 liveries.
Yes,
especially now we've gone to the ANZAC. Check out all the ANZAC liveries as we're watching this go round. And then we've got the Vehicle Solutions NT Most Improved Driver. Now, that's got $100 as well in this series for the entire series. Now, you need to impress the commentators. We aren't the only judges of this. It is the series organisers that will be judging it, but they will be taking feedback from the commentators. So do something spectacular for us. Just do something.
Yeah, for sure. But guys, I mean, everyone tuning in on the live stream, we've got about 68 people tuning in right now. We expect that to grow as we get into qualifying in the main race. But if you are tuning in, make sure you jump on board and let us know with the liveries as we start to roll through exactly who you like. You know, what liveries you do like to see and who you think is the most spectacular. Don't just think about this ANZAC Day round. I know we're going to have some pretty spectacular ANZAC Day liveries that are going to be shown on screen and some really great entries there. Just have a think about the guys who are doing a pretty good job at showing support to their local sponsors and doing something to be a little bit creative. So jump on board. Let us know what you think. Send a message to the Improved Production Racing Association of the Northern Territory Facebook page. Send them a message. Let them know exactly who you like and why you like them. And that might go a long way and tell us exactly who should be the fan favourite livery for the entire series.
Yeah, keep the comments coming. Tell us where you're watching from. What was that about disabled mods? I missed it. Go to Vehicle Solutions NT. If you need to get your wheelchair access, if you need to make some sort of disability modification to your vehicle, van, four-wheel drive, whatever it is, Vehicle Solutions NT. That's where you need to go, Michael Grant. He is the man. He sponsored the series. He does a lot of that in the Northern Territory, and he's been doing it for a long time. So go see him there in Mamua Street, Winnelly, I think. They are in Winnelly, I know that. But go see him. Go see Tony. Ask for Tony. He's a good bloke. Yep, Mamua Street, Winnelly. And they've been around for quite a few years. Like, we're talking 30 years in the Northern Territory. So go and see him. Up on screen at the moment, Bradley Vaughan and the ZB Commodore, of course. This guy is only 15 years of age from South Australia. His real race car is a Toyota GT86. So he's racing in a GT86 series. And it's only his first year. So Improved Production SA is where he's been. And he's been go-karting for about 6 years. So a lot of real track experience. But the young guys, the simulator racing just seems to come to them naturally. I'm sure back in the day it was a lot, we had the hand controls. You had really strong thumbs back in the day, but nowadays we've got all the steering wheels and everything else. And it's amazing how much input they've actually got back. Good to see Trevor Scott is joining us again, mate. Obviously a ex-commentator up here in Darwin and radio host, and it's good to see he's joined us back. He's been having a great time saying hello to all his old mates on the live stream. So keep them coming. Yeah. Let us know where you're coming. Hello from Bathurst. Chris Fosterus. How good is that? Bathurst joining in. Don't worry, we're back there in round number 5 in 2 weeks' time.
Have a look at this, Matty Cav. I think we've missed this here, but Paul Mansell managed to get his way back up into position 2 during this practice session. So we got about 37 minutes left to go of the practice session. Paul Mansell now just sitting in behind Anton De Pasquale, but he's still 0.641 behind him, so not quite able to get the job done and close in on him as of yet.
Well, he's gone in the pits already because I've just gone to go over and see exactly where he is, and he is gone. Pits is where he is. So
have you seen the time that Anton De Pasquale's actually done? We've been talking about a 128 and how good that is to get a 128 on the board, but Anton De Pasquale has done a 127.722. So that is exactly why the gap difference there is so great.
Mate, he's just getting faster and faster. I think he's just playing with these boys. Is that what he's doing? Just having a bit of a play with them? Oh, who's that coming off? Is that Barry? I hope that's not Barry. Please tell me it's not. I'm just going to have a quick look there. No, that is not Barry, unless the computer has reset him back. I'm just trying to see where Sates has gone, where Dylan is, because I know he's been fairly quick too, and I think I just saw him heading back out on track at the moment. So I do want to pull that car up. How good does it look, actually, the Dylan Sates car?
Oh, it's fantastic.
No,
Another one of the ones that Paul Mansell's helped out with and got the livery done for him. Performance Gym in Darwin, jumping on board and helping him. Sates Racing on the side of the car. It is an absolutely fantastic-looking Mustang getting around the track. He handles this corner fairly well, gets on his braking points fairly early on, and keeps some momentum through the corner there. So Dylan, you can definitely say, has done some practice around Phillip Island leading up to tonight's race.
Well, I know he's pretty matey with Paul Mansell, so I reckon they've probably done a little bit of time together in some practice sessions, probably showed him a few pointers. I mean, he's got plenty of karting experience. Young, which means we know the reflexes are going to be pretty good, and he's got quite a bit of iRacing experience, about 6 years. So, yeah, that probably helps him out a lot, you know. And then you get someone like Paul Mansell on your side who can just give you some tips on little things in the corners, how to set your car up in the game, in the simulator, you know, your brake bias settings depending on how the track conditions are. Just gives you that little bit. It might take you 2 or 3 positions up. Currently sitting in 15th fastest, Dylan Saints. He's 1.7 seconds behind Anton De Pasquale. He's only done a few laps. We haven't been able to catch him. Every time he goes out, he just sets a lap record and goes back in.
He's only done 6 laps. I'm just having a look at his laps on the screen there. So he's actually only done 6 laps around this so far. So he's definitely setting his times early on and probably taking a bit of a break, getting himself prepared for the qualifying session and then the main race. Obviously, as you sit in front of the screen a lot more, potentially you start to struggle more and more. So he's probably taking that breather, sitting back and just going, I'll jump back out there when I'm ready.
I'm just going through who's here. Looks like Rodney Jessup, the tick of approval, building certifiers entry. Rodney Jessup got into he did really well actually the other night. We've seen him on one of the other series. He was keeping up in the smaller series. It was only about 16 cars on track. But Hard Luck Award went to Rodney that time, I do believe. He got pushed a couple of times and spun out.
Yeah, he's not been doing too well in this series as well. He's currently sitting 32nd overall on the point score out of 40 drivers. So had a bit of a drama. But as you said, Matty, we've watched him in the other series that has been running offline. And he's been quite consistent and quite a front runner. So tick of approval, building certifiers on board with Rodney's car. He is in the number 15 car. Turbo's tyres also on board. And, hopefully a bit more luck comes his way at Phillip Island because he was definitely circulating around Phillip Island during the week in a fairly fast fashion and definitely towards the pointy end of the field. So we'll see how Rodney fares during tonight's session.
I reckon in clean air he could be one to watch in a good qualifying clean air. I'm just going to go and see if we can get Tommy Orton up now. This is a man who's been quite quick as well. Interested to see whether maybe the track conditions are slightly different to what they have been practicing on because he's been running those low 130s, like he's almost cracked the 120s, but like we say, very, very consistent. We know he races really well, he pushes really hard, but he's come unstuck really when it's come to braking on corners like this where it's been really hard braking. You know, you got a lot of temperature in the tyres later on in the race where they just want to lock up. But he's been trying. He can definitely steer this car around. He's had plenty of time to get some practice in. Doesn't like his late nights though. So
hates his late nights. He definitely wants to go to bed early.
Early starter. So
he's one of the guys who's just sitting outside the top 20. He's sitting in 22nd and high power on board of his number 77 Holden Commodore. And during the series, he was one of the guys to watch. He was fairly up there leading into the opening night. And then second round at Brands Hatch, he unfortunately had a power failure issue. And I think it was the entire power to his house went off.
Yeah, I think the neighbourhood lost it, and so he dropped out and he came back a bit later. But yeah, that was unfortunate for him. Let's just head back here to Adam Bergen now. He does have a new sponsor on board, which is good to see. I am going to see if I can try and bring this up. It is hard sometimes to get the camera angles down the side of the car, but we'll obviously the Humpty 2 vets, of course. He's got the kids camp on board where we know his wife Lisa does a lot of work in volunteering there, and she runs a great kids camp there as part of the association. But he's got Cam's landscaping and lawn care on this weekend, and I am going to see if I can bring a little bit of it up. It's in the middle of the car. We're only going to get the edge of it. He's done the metallic livery, so he's changed that over. He's had a bit of work on this week, I can tell you, and he's almost got a full class of kids to look after as well this week. That's what he said. He said, I'm almost back to full classes. Of course, the Shannons.
You can't quite see it as well. He's on board on the spoiler as well. So you and I are on Zenix's car, and he is sitting on the spoiler there on his car. Shannons Insurance, I think you're about to say, on the front quarter.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. So we're just going around his car, seeing if I can get that Cam's landscaping and lawn care to come up. But I don't think this side up, though. I love how he's put that on top. This side up, that's where it's meant to be. And if we go down the back of his car, you can see driver under instruction. Well, what I love about this sim racing community is the other night when they're racing, one of the guys actually jumped in and said, Adam, I'm going to run through some stuff with you. And, they're telling him where to brake. They're telling him what gears. They're saying, go up a gear, use the torque of the motor. It's so realistic there. The guys are dropping back gears and expecting it, but no, you can leave it in that next gear, less wheel spin. So we've seen some of the V8 supercar drivers struggling with the simulator setups, and I think that's probably because of how realistic it is, and you're not getting that natural feedback from around the car, the heat, all the sounds that go with it. And you are getting a lot of them back through the simulator, but it's not quite that way. But Adam Bergen, he started off with some processing power. I know he's updated a lot of his drivers. He's borrowed steering wheels. He's only operating off one screen from memory too. So he probably doesn't have the biggest budget of equipment, I would say. It's probably a fairly minimalistic one.
And Matty, like all these guys are jumping in, and obviously everyone wants to be there towards the tail end, and they want to be up towards the pointy end. But here is a guy in Adam Bergen, jumps on board, happy to do the chaplain speeches, and really excited to be a part of that. But one of the most positive guys you can really have a part of this. He doesn't mind, he's not really getting around the track, too quick. He's not keeping up with the other guys, but he's just happy to be out there and doing laps. Doesn't usually race in the black track racing at Hidden Valley. So he's not out there and running all the time. He's so excited to be able to mix it with all the guys and the online community that comes with it. Obviously the guys have the Discord chat that they're all chatting with each other as they're running around the track, and he's able to connect with these guys on and off and see how they're all going and just talk while they're racing. And he's just so positive about this whole thing and thinks it is absolutely fantastic that we're doing this. Oh, and I can see that you are jumping on
Paul
board.
Mansell, get out of the way of the champ. Get out of the way of the champ.
Here we are talking about how great Adam Bergen is and what a great guy he is, and Paul Mansell just goes, I don't care, he's in my way.
And to think this week I had nice things to say about Paul.
Yep, and they're all gone.
Of course, Tint Darwin is a new sponsor for him, came on last week. Vehicle Solutions NT, Tony got behind him early in this series. Also, Delta Electrics as well, another local NT company. So a lot of NT guys getting on. Of course, Paul Mansell, an ex-Territorian, now lives down in Victoria, but grew up in Karama, mate, in the ghetto. So, yeah, that's don't worry, I did plenty of years in myself, 20 years there. So we all know what it's like. It's a great place. But, yeah, ex-Territorian, knows a lot of these guys. Did a lot of RC racing too. That's how he knows Tony. That's how they go way back. So, but 12 years iRacing experience. He has been doing this for a long time, and that's why he is leading by 2 points in our championship at the moment. Look at this. A little bit of understeer there. Oversteer, I should say.
Yeah, you're dead right. I'm just chatting with one of the guys who was meant to be in for the entire series, but hasn't actually joined us yet on track. He's managed to gain himself 2 points. He's currently sitting 40th on the point score for the entire series. I think you can probably guess who I'm talking about here, Matty Cav. That's our man Simon Bullash. I've just sent him a message asking where he is and why he's not out on track yet, and he's just sent me a picture of iRacing. So the beauty about iRacing here is you don't get to just jump on and start racing. The guys at iRacing are always doing so much to make sure that the tracks are as realistic as possible. The cars are as realistic as possible. They're talking to all the top teams and finding out information back and forth, just as Paul Mansell takes a spin on our screen. That's a little bit of payback for what happened to Adam Bergen. But, yes, they're always doing updates. So every time you jump onto iRacing, you've got to actually make sure that you update and get all your tracks and your cars up to date. And unfortunately, Simon's sitting there with about 5 minutes worth of updates waiting to come on board. So, yeah, it'll be good to have Simon Bullash and his Mustang joining us for this series. He is a firefighter and works 4 days on and 4 days off, and not quite able to jump on board straight away with the iRacing series due to his work commitments, but it'd be great to have him on board. Does some fantastic racing around Hidden Valley. He's got RTB products and services on board, Recon Adventures and Darwin Emergency Glass. He's got 10 plus years of real life racing in his Mark I Ford Escort. He's had a couple of Escorts when he's been running around Hidden Valley, and apparently he has a secret worship room filled with different pictures of Pecky and the number 53. He's also a fireman and single, so line up, ladies.
No, he's single, is he?
I don't know. I made that bit up.
You made that bit up. But
I'm sorry. Sorry to Mrs. Simon if that's not the case.
He will be in the NTE series calendar, though, after this series.
Yeah, yes, 100%. He's probably the main one with the athletic figure who could be on on the calendar. I don't think you or I could be on there anymore, Matty.
Michael Halkidis just going through the pack there. I was hoping that we might actually see a good time for him because he's sort of been hovering around somewhere in the pack, just trying to bring up Toby Coates now. Looks like maybe we haven't got his livery in our system, or we did have some issues with trading paints last week. We've loaded up nice and early. I know he had a flash new livery on this one, Mr. Toby Coates, but yeah, we had to... I was nice to him as race director the other night. Gave him a couple of drive-throughs, old Toby. He was doing it hard, but we know he can definitely set some times there as it... It's going to be a white Commodore tonight. We will not be able to fix that, I do not believe. So the number 37, Toby Coates, of course, the mountain, the man, Toby Coates. He's currently running 34th at the moment, but we know he's just sort of he's probably around that 131, 132 mark really when it comes to time. So he's going to be right in the dense part of the race where there's going to be a lot of cars, a lot of people around that speed. And it's really hard to get out of there, of course. He's running the number 37, originally run by his grandfather on his TQ speed car. And the original speedway at Renmark during the 50s. So that number's been around for a long time. And we normally see the purple and orange on that we also see Ebony running down at our normal Northern Territory IPRA round. So great to see the family involved in the NTE series. We know Eb will be watching on tonight and giving him plenty of feedback. And hopefully it's plenty of good feedback.
There's nothing but good feedback from Ebony. She's always trying to feed everything back to us, and usually in a very lovely way. We just see one of the cars go off there. That was the number 7 just rolling off the track. So that is one of the tricky corners of this entire series. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how the guys get around and make this happen.
I'm just going through some of our guys we haven't seen yet on track. I'm just going to see if we can bring up Mr. Tim Nichols there, who has redone the livery. The PBE Projects entry, of course, they are builders. If you want to know who PBE are, they're building contractors, local Northern Territory construction company that specialises in residential, commercial and remote constructions. Of course, Timbo is probably the one that, at the moment, for us, personally, we feel a bit of hard luck for him because he's been spun around quite a few times in the race, and I do believe he had a couple of cheeky comments the other night, which was when he saw some people get spun out, thought, it's a bit of payback. So it's good to see he's keeping his sense of humour throughout this. I know talking to him, he said, you come on here for a bit of fun, but once you're out there, the competitive nature takes over. And he's been having a great time getting around. He's learned a lot about this sim racing, and it's even matured him. He's had to grow a beard. So
did you? I don't know if you've seen on his Facebook earlier today. He had a full suit on and was getting around his iRacing. So I really, really hope he's still in the suit and tie as he's sitting here doing tonight's round 3 at Phillip Island.
We've been asking, this is week 3, we've asked for that photo from his wife. So if she's listening, save it for round number, get a photo of him and give it to me before round 5. And we'll bring that up in the corner of the screen for you so we can see Tim in a suit, drinking a martini, doing sim racing. That's what I want to see.
Well, and the other thing, Matty, is you and I have to bring something special for round 4 and 5 because I know there's been a lot of call from no one to get you and I's faces on the Facebook live stream. So, no one's been calling for it, so we'll bring it your way.
Yeah. I think you're right. No one wants it, so we're going to give it to you. Ladies and gentlemen, everything you don't want and more coming your way next week. Don't worry. We have been mucking around with the webcams. We've already started it, ladies and gentlemen. The hours that go in behind the scenes to keep this series running is unbelievable, but it's good that Madicav Media could bring you the stream once again this weekend, and we will take some feedback, and we do have that from one person that really doesn't matter to us, but you're right. I am looking at the live stream now, and it's annoying me. So before next week, I will fix that. That will be fixed, I can guarantee you. That'll be one happier viewer. Just one.
I'll just cut off the internet at the apartment, and that way he won't be able to do anything more on the live stream or comment.
I'm just trying to see if Bradley Stott's made it out because this is a man who has been a big improver, actually. He's probably one of my ones that I would pick for most improved at the moment. So not making it on track. Let's see what Trump's doing. Trump's in the pits too, the number 100. We're not going to see him out. Doesn't look like that. Just going through some of our numbers and seeing who we do have out on track. It looks like one of the Normans now making their way back out. I do believe that might be the 96 Norman. Is it Nathan? We're just going to change over and see if he is coming out on track. There he is. So he's waiting to come out. Let's see if he can do another ripper because he is fast, Nathan Norman. Currently sitting 3rd fastest. Paul Mansell behind him. And maybe we'll just go back and see if Paul's still doing some laps because... No, he's not. Oh, yes, there he is. Look, the Vehicle Solutions NT down the side and the metallic. They've all changed their liveries for this weekend. Have a close look at them if you just joined us on the Facebook. Good to see Stephen Coyte's joined us all the way out from the mine site. So I'm glad that he is watching the series as best he can from work. He's got a couple more weeks set out there. The commentator's curse for Paul Mansell pushes him off again. That's what we do here as the commentators, Tegan. We just give him the commentator's curse. Looks like Nick Sutton, the high-power NT Mustang entry, just going a little bit wide there and giving a little bit of room. Just trying to see if Sam McGrade's made it, because he's been very fast in another couple of the series as well that we've been watching. But just trying to find where his number is on track for Sam McGrade, if he's come out yet. Looks like he has. He's done a couple of laps there, and he is not on track at the moment. There he is. The ACUG, Australia Container Unloading Group, of course, X-Drift Industries, Tim Surf and Turf, Valino's Tyres, and Darwin Automobile Care. The livery from Danny Probert's X-Drift drift car, the XD. And it looks great on the Mustang, so no pressure, Danny, but it looked really good on a new Mustang. Trevor Scott, the Winelli odd couple track. Yeah, that's the odd couple track there where the RC cars were. Be interested to see how Sam McGrade goes tonight, Tegan, because he has been very fast in the other series we have been joining into, and quite consistent too, been able to keep the tyres going, and he's only just found out he can adjust the brake bias. So if he's been fast without doing that, he might be able to find a few tenths of a second. So obviously the ACUG Mustang now coming up to Adam Berg, and let's see if he's going to be on a lap. This might slow him down a bit, unfortunately, there for Sam McGrade, the number 98. So he... Adam Bergen doing the right thing and just pulling over to the side. He's such a gentleman, Adam Bergen. He's just a very, very good gentleman. Puts a lot in behind the scenes to make sure that we get our chaplain's prayer every week, and it's great to have Phil Zamagiris join him this week as well. Phil, if you're listening, I hope you are. And, thank you for doing what you did there for our Anzac Day speech. So big thanks to Phil and Adam as Sam McGrade goes through. Doesn't look like that's going to be an indicative time for him. As he does a 130 though. Like a 130 is not too bad, and that's where we have been seeing him run around as he goes off the end of the track. High speed corner there. Just might head back to Paul Mansell, see if he's still there. He's gone and changed the tyre, so he's back out for another lap as well. Just trying to see if Brad Stott may have gone out on track. Here we go. The Farmers Union Iced Coffee, the man who keeps them in a job. Brad Stott, probably one of the people I got a little bit of most improved for, because we have seen him start down the far end of the field in the racing, but we've watched him over the last few weeks in testing, in practice sessions, in other series, and he's just doing more and more laps. He's getting more and more laps strung together, so I'm hoping that this car here, sponsored by Darwin Automobile Care as well, and X-Drift Industries and iSpark Electrical, can probably push up the field a little bit tonight, hopefully.
Yeah, he's definitely been putting in the time, as you said, Matty. He's been doing a lot of work to make sure that he can put it together, the consistent laps. As you said, you don't have to be the quickest out on the track. You just have to be the most consistent, because you try and start pushing yourself, and all of a sudden you go off the track and you lose so much more time, and you're not able to regain that in the race. So, really for guys like Brad Stott, if you're putting together those consistent laps and getting around, you're going to end up midfield really anyway, because a lot of the guys who are pushing themselves beyond their limits are going to end up off the track. And, Brad would be able to make up some positions that way. But even in saying that, I've watched him in a couple of races recently, and he's been able to move his way forwards and make some really decent passes. So it'll be interesting to see as this progresses exactly where Brad gets to.
And another one of these guys where someone has jumped on the line with him as he locks the brakes up there, goes off onto the grass. A bit more of our commentator's curse.
Yeah, he'll definitely blame me for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'd blame you for anything, really. Like, it's not hard to blame you. It's not hard to blame you at all. Let's see Matt Burns. Looks like he is leaving pits. Now, Matty Burns, where is he actually sitting at the moment? Because he is down in 8th. So he's almost a second and a half behind Anton De Pasquale, who's only come out and done a handful of laps and knocked that 127 out of the park, which is impressive, really, isn't it? That is super impressive. What's that? 127.72. So he is the number one at the moment. As we see Matty Burns go off, let's just try instant replay as we've been working on this throughout the week. Here we go. A bit of slow motion there. Maybe we can get a better camera angle there as he goes off the track. Follow him here. He keeps in on the corner a bit. That's nice there, but it just seems to understeer, I think, maybe, as he goes through. Almost like it turns the opposite way. Something going on there with him, but unfortunately he goes off the track, and that will upset him for this lap time. Of course, it is practice at the moment, so there's not too much stress about the times right now. You're going to have to back it up again. This isn't the times you're going to be sticking with. Just going to go through here and see if the man with 2 first names is out. No, Graham Craig is not out. I am looking for him because I always get that wrong.
If he's not there, and you can get back towards the number 80 car of Simon Bullash, He's now joined us on the field. He had a black flag early on as soon as he came out of the pits. So he did all his updates, then got black flagged as soon as he came out of the pits. He's under a bit of pressure here from Dylan Sates. So this is the first time that we will see the RTB car join us on the track. So Simon Bulash usually runs an escort out on track for the first time in this iRacing E-Series, thanks to Shannons Insurance. Usually runs an escort. He's been running with the other series, RTB Products and Services, Recon Adventures, Darwin Emergency Glass. Goes off the track in a big way. Matty Cav, I might stop pointing you to drivers there because I seem to keep doing it to them. So he managed to get the car back on track and back under fire there. So that is one of the big things. You come out down the main straight of Phillip Island here, and there's that big sweeping bend, and it's very, very deceptive of how fast you can get through there. So you think you can hold a fair bit of speed, but it just punches you straight off the track and into the grass there. So Simon, one of the guys who just felt victim to that. So he's he's definitely got around the track fairly decently before that, and as soon as we brought the cameras on him, he's gone backwards. So
we put the pressure on him. That's what we did. We put the pressure
he'll
hard
thank
on
me
him.
later, I think.
Yeah, I'd thank you later. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Dylan Sates was behind him. Let's see if he got past. Now, he's caught up to Rodney Jessup. So that's Rodney Jessup in front in the tick of approval, ZB Commodore, the building certifiers. And the car just gets unsettled there for Rodney Jessup out in front. We might see if we can get a little bit of a better angle there so we can see both cars at the moment. So it'd just be interesting to see if Dylan Sates is going to sit behind him. Obviously, we know Dylan can go a little bit faster than Rodney Jessup. We don't see him in the top 15 at the moment for Rodney. So what we might do is we might go through our leaderboard at the moment and see exactly where everyone is standing in practice. Reminding that this is practice. There is still time to go for qualifying. So in about 14 minutes, just over 40 minutes, we'll go into 20 minutes of qualifying. Then we'll have a 40-minute race. So it's going to come down to that 20 minutes of qualifying. They're only going to get about 9 hot laps to get a time down. Now that's 9 laps, and you've still got to go in your out lap, which won't count. So because you won't get a time. So you know, you've got to have clear air. Last time we saw at Brands Hatch, everyone tried to jump out all at once. That's what they did. People were hitting everyone as they went out of the pit lane. But it seemed to work a lot better than Bathurst where people waited. So everyone went out as early as they could. And if you can get behind someone like Paul Mansell maybe or Anton De Pasquale and just follow their lines, you might be able to get yourself up in that top 20 as Ronnie Jessup gets a bit loose in the background there. So we'll just keep it on Dylan Sates at the moment. Going through our mini leaderboard, of course, Anton De Pasquale at the top, the wildcard entry from the V8 Supercar Series. Of course, the Erebus Army. We hope you're tuned in tonight. We do see that we shared this out with you so you can watch him. So hopefully the Erebus Army, give us a shout out in the comments if you are watching. Plenty of people starting to tune in on our Facebook live stream. Second is the champ, Paul Mansell, leading the championship in 290 points. Then we see Nathan Norman behind that in third. Kevin Norman with the 4th fastest time so far. Jordan Cox, who is second in the championship with the 5th fastest time tonight. Callan Gear in 6th. Brendan O'Cass, who's in 3rd, in 7th fastest so far. Matty Burns has increased on this lap, but on this track, I should say, at Phillip Island. But I know he actually goes down there every year to watch a bit of racing. So I think this is actually his home track, Phillip Island. Bradley Vaughan in 9th. Ray Oliver in 10th. I expect he might even jump up 1 or 2 come qualifying time. Zach Hudson in 11th. JD Luke in 12th, so he's doing all right tonight. Michael Haukitis in 13th so far in the times, that is. This is practice, mind you. Michael Schroeder in 14th. Dylan Saints in 15th. Jake Burgess in 16th, so he's down a little bit. Sam McGrade in 17th. Damien McCartney in 18th. Michael Gore in 19th. Then 20th is Mitchell Strzelecki. Tom Orton in 21. Rossi Johnson in 22. 23 is Steve Sanderson. Tim Nichols in 24. Zdenek Radomski in 25 in the Ice Spark entry. 26, Michael Freeman. Stephen Ling, 27. He's made it back from fishing. So he'll be in good form tonight if he's been fishing all day. Nick Sutton in the other high power NT entry in 28. Then we go to Barry Smith in 29, Rodney Jessup in 30, Toby Coates in 31, the number 37, Evan Cooklinus in 32, David Worrell in 33, Richard Wilson in 34, 35 is Carl Letcher, 36, Graham Craig, the man with 2 first names, Dylan Thompson in 37, Brad Stott 38, Simon Bulash in 39, Adam Bergen in 40th. Have we got a 41 tonight? No, you
and me, Matty, 41st and 42nd. I can't believe you've gone first.
They're saving the best for last, mate. That's all I'm saying. Saving the best for last.
Maybe you and I should have gone out there and just put a quick lap down just to show them what we're made of.
Mate, I'll see what you're made of.
Yeah, it would have been about a 2-minute flat.
I don't need to embarrass myself by doing what you do on a Tuesday and a Thursday night. All right, mate? I'm just saying. Just saying. Damien McCartney, I might see if he is actually out on track at the moment because he's snuck a time in there. I was looking for him on the cameras earlier, and there he is. He is back in pit lane, and it looks like he might be taking a little break. But that'll be interesting to get him back out on track as well, as it looks like we do have a few cars moving around. Looks like Simon Bullash is back out doing the lap. Let's follow him out and see exactly how he's going on this one. Looks like if he can follow someone around, he might be able to keep on track a bit better, maybe. Just maybe.
He gets around that sweeping bend, the first corner, fairly well. Comes up to a fairly tight corner here. And holds the line fairly well, just hugs it as he rolls on through and gets off the corner fairly straight. So he should hold some good momentum as he rolls on through. So Simon definitely got around the track earlier on in the week fairly well. And when I raced him in this corner here earlier on in the week, I definitely let him know that I was right behind him. Unfortunately, didn't get on the brakes early enough and sent him off into the grass. So poor Simon, probably lucky I'm not out there racing with him now because we have a lot of fun when we get there.
So Steve Burns is joining us from West Suburban Melbourne. Are you related to Matty Burns? I assume so. So good to see everyone starting to join in on our Facebook Live. Of course, qualifying session coming your way in about 10 minutes' time, just over 10 minutes. I'm actually going to go to, looks like it is Ray Oliver behind him in the 182 car. I'm going to change over to that as he's getting the passing move done because check out the livery on this thing. This is absolutely insane.
If there was a fan favourite for the round, I think that might actually have it. That is a fantastic looking car. He's done wonderful on that. Definitely getting.
It's good to see your roommates join into the live stream. I mean, I know he's been joining in since the start. He's got plenty of feedback for us. Is it constructive though? I don't know. Ray Oliver, how good is the 182 car? Ray Oliver, of course, he's been sim racing for about a year on iRacing. Obviously, RC cars only. So another one of the RC car guys getting involved. And not really surprising, is it? I mean, you think the guys that actually race out in the circuit probably think sim racing's a step back, maybe, or it probably feels like that. For the RC guys, they go from these tiny cars to actually having a decent sized steering wheel and feeling the inputs as well as the feedback as the simulator gives them.
Yeah, he's from Western Australia too. He's been a motorsports photographer there for a number of years. It looks like he's actually been doing this sort of racing for a lot of years, but not actually on the iRacing platform. So there has been a number of other sort of platforms. Don't
wreck the paint job. Don't wreck the paint job, mate.
He's got JP's Sim Sheds on board. So JP Sim Shed, one of the guys who helps out with all the simulators for this sort of platform of racing. So great to have Ray Oliver on board. And as we said, moved up from 36 up to the top 15 within the last race meeting. So done a pretty fantastic job there. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how Ray Oliver gets around Phillip Island, what sort of points he can get together, and how much he moves forward in this round 3 of the Shannons Insurance NT iRacing E-Series. We just see the number 3 car of Norman get a little bit loose there as he rolled through one of the corners. This is Kevin Norman's. He's been doing this racing casually since about 2012 for the last 8 years.
Commodore just doesn't want to play the game, does it?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see who else we might have. Here's JD Luke as he comes back, of course, the Breaking Late podcast boys. You can see if you've got the big Breaking Late symbols down the side, they do the podcast. Also, thanks to McGee's, of course, getting on board with these guys. I do believe all 3 of the cars are running the McGee's on the side. I think that's how it's going. But great supporters, of course. Remembering that there are bonus points in this NTE series for anyone running a local sponsor livery on their car. So that was part of being in here. You get additional points. I believe an extra 2 points in the championship if you run local liveries each round. So great way to keep local businesses in the Northern Territory with their advertising out there, of course, during these COVID-19 restrictions. We want to see as many people stay in business as possible. Good to see the Burns family are joining us. They're taking over the live stream. Just tell us, mate. We'll get you in here. You can just take it over. Me and Tegan can go and have a what is it?
We can go have a coffee together.
A coffee, yeah. So we can have a coffee, yeah. A long distance coffee together. That's how it goes. It's good to see them joining in too. I mean, Matty, we might actually go over to Matty Burns. What number car is he? I do believe he is car 11. So let's just go. He's in the pits. What's he doing in the pits?
What's he doing? He's not helping us out with that.
He's not doing it. He's not helping us out at all.
But as you said, Matty Cav, during these times, and whilst we can't go racing in the real life situation at the black tracks, the speedways, and the other sort of racing platforms that we have around the place, it's great to see that all these guys jump onto the online racing platform with iRacing.com and definitely pay tribute to all of their sponsors who have been on board for a lot of years. There's a lot of these guys who have never actually raced before in on the real life situation, but they're actually just supporting a lot of their friendly local businesses and just putting them on the card and make sure that they still have support during these times. So guys, if you are tuning in on the live stream, we do put it out there that you support local business, whether that be here, whether that be West Australia, Victoria, New South Wales, wherever you're tuning in from, anywhere around Australia or around the world. Make sure you are supporting local business. You jump on board with these guys who have these local businesses on their cars and you support them as much as you can, especially through these troubling times with the COVID-19 situation that is going on worldwide.
And I love that our sponsors recognise that these are car guys. So even though they might be sim racing at the moment, they've got a special car in the shed, or they just appreciate cars in general. And Shannons Insurance getting on board has really, we've really cemented them into this series, because the Shannons Insurance NTI Racing E-Series has been fantastic from the start. It's been good to have 40 cars. Unfortunately, a few guys not being able to make every round due to work commitments, but tonight we actually do have 40 cars on track. And we can't thank Shannons Insurance enough for getting on board. And we hope that you are tuned in and watching Shannons Insurance. We know Rob Berry is. Big shout out to Rob. Good to see you putting some tough mounts in your hot rod, buddy. The old twin turbo hot rod just keeps snapping the standard ones, I assume. So good to see Rob Berry tuned in. I hope your dog's watching with you on the couch. And we hope everyone at Shannons Insurance enjoying. I see Patrick Barley's joined in tonight, which is good to see the apprentice of Shannons Insurance NT joining in. I'm sure he's had plenty of sim racing, but in the drift world at the moment. I know he's been doing the iRacing on the Speedway as well. So maybe, just maybe, we can get Patrick Barley to come into one of these rounds, or maybe a bit later. Maybe we should line him up with one of our weekday rounds and see what he's doing, see how good he can go. Also need to thank Vehicle Solutions NT, of course, for modifying your vehicle, whether it's he does corrections vehicles, patient transport vehicles, custom installations, commercial vehicle fit outs as JD Luke spins around in the 97. Who did he come together with? Was that
Barry Smith?
Oh.
He ended up on the berm.
Tell you what, Barry, when you watch him on track, he is a very, very diligent racer. Pushes it to the limits, but looks after the car. And in the iRacing world, he just can't get a break.
Yes,
not get a break at all. I'm just seeing Matty Burns is still there in the pits. I was just trying to look around and see who might still be on track at the moment.
Isn't this a pretty incredible sort of situation here, Matty Cav? You just seen JD Luke spin out, and then he just pressed his exit button and he was straight back in the pits. That's what's pretty cool about this whole situation. They get straight back there. We just see Toby Coates up on screen in the 37th car. As we scroll through, just trying to find out, we got about 3.5 minutes left to go before we get into the qualifying session of this Shannons Insurance NT iRacing E-Series. Round number 3 at Phillip Island. Toby Coates just starting to put it around the corner of the 37 car. His livery not popping up there. And
you're a naughty boy if you don't get your livery on time now. We've turned trading paints off during the racing because last week it was causing us a little bit of delay. So we've managed to work on it here at Medicav Media in consultation with some of the guys from iRacing, and of course people like Paul Mountz, who does a lot of the liveries and has been doing this for 12 years. We have been working hard behind the scenes to try and increase the level of production that we can bring you, and one of the things is to get the liveries loaded into the system nice and early the day before, so that our system keeps on running flawlessly. As we see Zach Hudson up on track at the moment, of course, only a limited amount of iRacing experience, about 4 to 5 months, but 9 years of racing go-karts, XL Cup, and improved production. Of course, he's a rotary boy. He's got a Mazda RX-7 at the moment, so he's a real race car. So good to see. Sponsored by More Trailers, Hudson Panel Beaters, Steve Jones Floor Sanding. And Zach Hudson is another one who we have sort of seen floating around in those top 10 finishes. He qualified 5th in round number 1. That's where he qualified. Unfortunately, he did not make it. Sorry, he finished 6th there. I believe he was a little bit further up, actually. He was challenging more in the top 3, but unfortunately had an incident on track, went off track, and ended up 6th in the first race. Then we didn't see him in the top 10 in our round number 2. I'm just trying to see if he actually made it. No, he did not make it in the top 10 in race number 2. And unfortunately, that's what happens, though, throughout the racing. If you don't qualify well and you get stuck mid-pack, you do have a lot of traffic that you've got to get through and a lot of different experience in the races. What I do notice, Tegan, though, is last week, it was so much better than week 1. So the experience of the races, I know behind the scenes, a lot of people helping with setup of computers, graphics systems, turning things down, turning things up, playing around with things. As long as your power stays on, you're going to do all right.
Yeah, so there was only one person who really had that issue Yeah, but you're spot on there, Matty Cav. I mean, everyone has the varying experience with this iRacing situation, and whilst you and I have our graphics turned right up so we can commentate this thing and see exactly what's on the side of the different cars, you can actually turn your graphics right down so that your computer can cope with it. So a lot of the guys have either turned their graphics right down or actually gone out and improved exactly what sort of iRacing and sort of simulation setup they have running at home. So a lot of the guys doing a whole lot of work and making sure they can get out on track. So it has been pretty good to see these guys improve week by week and make sure that they're out on track and looking the goods.
I was just going to bring up the Schroeder car, actually, have a look at that, because I did see some stuff going on social media on the weekend. We just seen the comment come up, and you're right, it is looking pretty good, actually. Steve Burns, anyone have a new steering wheel they can get to Larrakia in the next 5 minutes? So I'm assuming Matty Burns has broken the steering wheel. We are not having good luck with sim racing parts this week, are we? A few people have been struggling to make sure they can get back out there. Just trying to see who is actually left on track at the moment as we come to the end of this practice session. A few guys may be running off for a personal pit stop very quickly before qualifying, because they're all going to be in the hot seat come qualifying, as that is the end of our session maybe, because we were on the number 4, and now he has gone away, Mr. Adam Bergen. No, there we go. The Cairns Landscaping and Garden Care is back there. I think it's Cam's Landscaping and Lawn Care on the side for this week. It's good to see him get behind. Humpty Doo Vet as well. And, of course, the kids' camp as he goes off and does some landscaping of his own. Spreads some gravel over the place.
How cool does the chrome blue look on his car, though?
It does look pretty good, isn't it? And he's asked for a lot of help. And that's what I like about this sim racing community, is the people are giving him plenty of help, because he's doing a lot behind the scenes to make sure we get our prayers every week and things like that. And we spend a lot of time on Discord with him outside of this racing.
And I bet you if he put a competition out there of who could play an instrument the best, he would probably be in the top 5.
I was nervous this week when he said to me, do you want me to play the last post? And I said, I didn't know he could play it. I didn't know he could play the trumpet, but no.
Yeah.
That's what he did. He went out there.
Yeah, he told me that when he was a kid, his dad started teaching him, and he had to go out into the sand dunes in South Australia where he grew up, and he had to play it, and that's where he learnt. And he reckoned it was an absolute surreal feel. They would go out in the middle of the night. It was pitch black, and the sound would roll across the sand dunes, and it really taught him how to play an instrument, and it was fantastic. And he hasn't done a whole lot of playing in his later years, but decided to get on board. He almost jumped on board with his school and actually did it over the PA system, but chose to do it over our medium instead. And I tell you, I was actually the one who recorded that, and he nailed it the first time. He was incredible. So great work by Adam Bergen, and great to have him on board for this entire series.
All right, so qualifying session has started. This is the out lap. So if you've just joined us on the Facebook Live, this is the out lap. So these times aren't really going to put them in the real position, but they are starting to warm up. Everyone looks like they have gone out. If we have a look down pit lane very quickly, I do believe everyone has left the pits except for Matty Burns, who has a broken shifter, I believe. He's busted his shifter. Oh, there you go. Adam knows if he runs off, he gets more coverage. Cheers, Scruffy. I love Scruffy. I love having him on the live stream.
Scruffy could just about be a commentator with our entire series. We just see Ray Oliver jump up on screen as he passes the final corner and heading onto the main straightaway past the pit entry. So we'll see as the first set of times start to get put on the board, of course, with the iRacing series. You do not put a time down if you go off track or make contact with a car or the wall. So some of these guys may not put a lap down the first time as they would have gone off track. So we'll see as they start to roll through exactly what times we get across the board.
And that is one of the things that I've learned about this simulator racing. Well, in iRacing is if you go too far over a curb, put wheels on the grass, if you have an incident or something like that, that lap doesn't count. So some of the guys in our first round of racing at Bathurst, you've got a 6.5 kilometre track, and which means you don't get a lot of laps. I mean, in 20 minutes, we got a 4.4 kilometre track. You're only going to get about 9 laps, and that's if you come out at the start and you go really, really hard and you make no mistakes. That's 9 laps. Now, if you make a mistake, you got to come out, you got to find some clean air in traffic. You might only get 2 or 3 good laps in. So it is very important that after practice, you don't push too hard. Sometimes it's maybe best just to step it back for a couple of laps, let some temperature get in the tyres, but lay down some sort of lap for qualifying, and it's going to be interesting to see when Anton De Pasquale comes out, because at the moment Kevin Norman is obviously the first car out. So this is where it's all happening. The first car out is Kevin Norman in the Commodore, the number 3, the flat out karts entry, as he has to overcorrect that. Look at that, sideways coming out. He is going to get down a time, though. I do believe this will be a full lap for him, too. Tommy Orton back there. I think maybe something's happened to Tommy Orton because Zdeněk Radomski looks like he has pulled up behind the Kevin Norman, maybe. I'm just trying to get that. I will have a look at that at the moment. Trying to see who's behind. Ray Oliver is there. Ray Oliver's going to be ominous, I reckon, in the times as we check this out. It will start to do some updating there. So Kevin Norman, just trying to see what time he has run on that first full lap. Tegan, you can probably see it more than me. Callan Gear has run the second fastest, 1 second behind. So Kevin Norman laying down a decent one just to get things underway at the moment. A couple of cars going off track in the background. Looks like
just trying to have a look at the timing here and having a look at the exactly where they're sitting. It's just gone a little bit haywire on me, and it's all over the place. It's not really showing up exactly what time they've run the last, but it looks like Nathan Norman has put together a 1:28.389. So that'll sit about the top of the tree for a lot of this session. Then we go back to Callan Gear. It looks like he's got a 1:29.445. So
Paul Mansell there, he's just behind him. He's done a 1:28 as well on the first full powered lap. So Paul Mansell puts his nose in there and comes up second. Nathan Norman, though, did get a little bit sideways coming out of that last couple of corners. So, that 1:28.3, you're right, it's going to be hard to beat. The only person that beat a 1:28.3 last time was his brother Nathan and Anton De Pasquale. Now, will Anton come out? Let's just go over and see if we can find Anton on track. It'll be interesting if he's come out. And there he is. The number 99 car, our wild card entry, of course. Hopefully the Erebus Army are watching at the moment. Of course, the Penrite entry, normally in the V8 Supercar Series. He's got plenty of iRacing experience. He's got plenty of karting experience. He's been over in Europe racing cars over there. Was he Formula Ford's champion in Australia as well as a younger person? I do believe he raced karts in the Northern Territory as well at a couple of championships and took them out. So, that's probably where the guys from Darwin have managed to get him into this series, because I know he was pretty excited about joining it, but he does know a few of the Normans, people like the Normans and JD Luke and that. So it's great to have him in the series. And the talk over Discord earlier in the week was that, he will be the man to beat tonight.
Yeah, it's great to see that we had this wild card idea early on before we started this series, and obviously Bryce Fullwood, an NT guy, jumps on board early on. Then we had Todd Hazelwood, now Anton De Pasquale. So it's great to see these guys who are running in the V8 series and getting around the track. And they've got their own V8 series that they're running with, but they're still jumping on board and assisting us and getting involved and making sure that they're supporting some of the smaller series. So great to have Anton on board. He's a great guy, and he'll be one to watch as they get around the Phillip Island track here. He's got a fair bit of experience going on with iRacing and with the black track racing. He's done Phillip Island a number of times, so we'll see as the time starts to come through. We got 13 and a half minutes left of this qualifying session. Anton De Pasquale sitting at the top still. Jordan Cox tilting back to exactly where we expected it to be. He's got up to second position. Nathan Norman sitting in third. Paul Mansell in fourth. Fifth is Braden O'Cass. Kevin Norman is in sixth. Callan Gear is in seventh. Then we go back to eighth. Bradley Vaughan, Ray Oliver in ninth. 10th is Sammy McGrade. Michael Halkitis, 11th. Michael Freeman, 12th. And then Zdeněk Radomski in 13th. JD Luke, 14th. And then Nick Sutton rounding out the top 15. So good to see Nick Sutton getting into that top 15 for this time qualifying session. Ray Oliver looking to join the track again. So some of the guys will go back into the pits during this qualifying session, do a little bit of tuning here and there where they can. So it is a fixed setup, but they do have some selections they can make to their car and do some things to make the car handle what they would see a little bit better than some of the other guys. So we'll see these as we get through this 12 minutes 48 left of this qualifying session.
Yeah, we're looking for Michael Schroeder a bit earlier, and he is one who is he can run a time. We know he's got a bit of experience in here. Of course, the iRacing may not be his most experienced, but obviously a Speedway kart champion, AMCAR National Feature winner, as well as driving sprint cars. He's no stranger to going fast. Obviously, the livery is looking good on this car too. The Vision Motorsports on the side. Got a few kids as well, of course, all sponsored by Riley Circus Design, Apex Imaging, and Virtual Motorsports. He's Probably the number 63. I'm just trying to have a look and see where he was, because he was 9th qualifier in our first round, and I do believe he got a little bit unlucky in our last round too, because he was making a fair few moves there, but unfortunately got caught up with some of our traffic and didn't really get to the position he really wanted to. But we know he's a very serious racer. He's keen as to get some points on the board in this series, as it looks like he's still got to warm those tyres up. They're not quite sure if he came out and did a couple of laps earlier and then went back in, as my system here is not updating me at the moment. But that's okay, because we'll just keep him up on screen at the moment. Let's see what he runs on this one. Was at a 141. So I do believe that's an out lap for him. So wait to see him warm those tyres up and see how he goes as we head back to Zdeněk Radomski. I think is behind him in the 221 car. There he goes, the big orange iSpark electrical and fire entry. Obviously, all the happy faces all over that one.
What do you think, Matty Cav? He's got 221 as his race number. Is that a 2212 production reference, you think?
Well, it would be if he came second. Could be a 2211 if he came first. Just saying. At the moment, what's he, a 2214 or something? 22114, I should say, something like that. I don't. I'll have to check where he actually is sitting in the stand. He's 17th at the moment. Of course, he's done a couple of laps out there in qualifying. Jordan Cox is the man, though, who is very fast and chasing down the man of the moment, who is Anton De Pasquale, who looks like he's just gone back in the pits. We'll bring up Jordan Cox at the moment in the ZB Commodore. He's been, he came second in round number 1 to Bryce Forward. So, technically he won that round because the wild card doesn't take the win points. And then he came second to Paul Mansell, who was behind him in round 1. So they basically swapped positions. Paul Mansell's got a 2-point lead over him. It looks like number 33, Richard Wilson, there with an issue. They've come together. Let's see if we can get that back on replay. Just coming together with, looks like it may be Damien McCartney, is it? The number 43? Just trying to see who that is at the moment.
No, it's Callan Gear.
Callan Gear.
In the 54 car gets
behind
in with him. Yeah. So it was the behind car that actually got together with him and might have unsettled him. So it looks like he might have got on the brakes a little bit too much there, and unfortunately, Callan Gear nowhere to go. So
it's good that we got the replays working, mate. We've got the replays working this week, so we're giving you a better production. The production is getting better, mate. We're doing plenty of hours behind the scenes, and we're glad that everyone's joined in. Matt and Tegan, any luck with the car sounds this week? Actually, yes, and I'm glad you reminded me, because bad production manager. Maybe that might help. I don't know. Just saying, it might help. So we should be getting some car sounds out there very, very shortly for you. So just let us know if they are not scrolling through, because they should be starting to come out for you. You should be able to hear everything. Alrighty, so...
Oh, Scruffy's tuned back in and he said, look out, here comes Lingy.
No, not the Lingmeister.
I'm not sure who has to look out for that, but Lingy's been on the fishing charter all day today, so Lingy might have to just watch out for himself, I think.
Do you reckon?
Probably.
Yeah,
he might end up falling out of his seat.
He's his own worst enemy. That's what I can say.
He's been telling me that he is he's really going to get up to the top end of this field, and he'll probably win in the last 3 rounds. So he's pretty confident in himself, and he's got David Ling Insurers on board as his sponsor, and his iRacing experience. He's told me it's not enough, but his fun facts: he looks up to Tegan Peck as a role model. Which, Matty Cav, can you blame him?
I don't blame him for looking up to you as a role model at all. I mean, who wouldn't look up to you as a role model? That's what I'm trying to say. Who would not look up to you as a role model?
Most people.
Most parents won't let their kids look up to you as a role model. That's what I think it is at the moment. So, just going through exactly what is going on. Of course, looks like we, just trying to give you some more sound coming out through your speakers for the cars, but... Of course, that's what we like to do, and that's, of course, nothing ever goes to plan when it comes to production. And, of course, with 2 of us just behind the scenes, it is very busy here in the production booth at the moment. We've gone from 4 screens to 5 this week, just to make things a little bit more complicated. It's Jordan Cox up on screen at the moment, just trying to see who else is out on track that we should be looking at. Matty Burns, he's still in the pits. No, he's managed to make it out there. He must have got something working. That's good to see the electric NT Mustang getting around, Matty Burns.
Yeah, Matty Burns currently sitting in 8th on the leadership board. So he's done fairly well to keep himself consistent and in that top 10. Just goes off track a little bit. That's these sand traps at Phillip Island, deathly And you got to be very careful as you go to re-enter the track, as Matty Burns just found out. Then he's got electric NT on the side of the car there. And, he just goes a little bit too wide there and goes off track. But fantastic looking livery on the side of this car, electric NT on board. He's won the karting tag restricted light first year in karting, and he reckons he went backwards since then. But he does fairly well in the iRacing series. He's just having a look here. He's done about 7 years. He usually competes in the Skip Barber series in the GT3. So first time running in the Mustang around these tracks. So he's been doing fairly consistent, but obviously has that little bit of experience behind him with being able to run in the iRacing series, understands exactly how the whole system works, and probably has a little bit more understanding about what sort of setups you need to run and the different changes you need to make. He's sitting in behind Jordan Cox, who's currently sitting third on the standings in this qualifying session. We've got 6 minutes left to go of the qualifying session. Anton Di Pasquale is still leading this one from Paul Mansell and Jordan Cox, Nathan Norman in fourth, and Michael Schroeder in fifth. That's your top 5 of this qualifying session. We currently are looking at Matty Burns in the electric NT, number 11, green, grey, and black car. Absolutely fantastic looking car, don't you think, Matty?
Mate, that is an awesome car. I do like the electric NT entry. It is it's just clean, really, isn't it? It's just a nice, clean, fast look. Just to as he gets around there in the Mustang, just trying to see what times he's pulling at the moment. This should be a nice hot lap for him too, I think, as we keep working through some stuff in the background at the moment.
He's definitely getting around this track fairly well, is Matty Burns in the number 11 car.
We'll just go and see what time he pulls on this one before we go off. It looks like that might be JD Luke just getting out of the way in the background. Be interested to see what Zach Hudson's doing too, because the number 65 there, he's moved up a little bit as well. So we might just see how Matty Burns goes. We might cross to Zach Hudson again and see how he is going in this.
Yeah, sitting on a 123 right now. He's probably going to pull a fairly decent time here.
Matty
as
Burns
he comes
is doing all right too. Look, can he beat a 130? Yeah, 129.739. How good is that? So we might head over to Zach Hudson, see if he's on track at the moment. There we go. The Fanatec Mustang now getting around 65 as he can. Looks like he's going to go round. He must be about to complete his lap. I'm just going to see if we get a time come up for him. That time obviously catching up. So Zach Hudson gets through. That looks like Tim Nichols coming out on track at the moment. So there's plenty of guys trying to come out and get the last couple of things here on track. So Tim Nichols now just pulls out. He's on an out lap in the beautiful number 23 car, as you can see there. Just a couple of guys in front. Looks like the Normans. Maybe Paul Mansell still on track. Let's see what he's doing. The Vehicle Solutions NT and, of course, Delta Electrics entry. Tint Darwin as well on the side. Up on the back banner, so the guys have tinted the windows here. I know he's been tinting the front headlights as well, so they've been doing plenty of work in the background on this one. Let's see what he does as he crosses the line here. We'll wait for a time to flash up because that is a 140, so he's obviously come across some traffic there, I'd say. He might be on a bit of a run this time, though. Well, maybe we'll just go and see what Michael Schroeder's doing while we wait there, because he is moved up into 5th fastest too. So Michael Schroeder's making some waves here in the middle as well. Just trying to see what number Michael is. He is number 63. Just trying to see where he is on track at the moment. No, he's gone into the pits as well. Braden O'Cass, I'm just trying to see where he is because he has been very fast this series as well. Trying to see what times he is starting to pull out on track. Looks like some back markers there. The number 19 also off track. Just wonder whether the Jaws Contracting entry gets a nice clean run on this one, or maybe he's been caught up in some traffic there for Braden O'Cass because he's currently 3rd in our championship, and he's had some top 5 finishes too. So he came 3rd in our last round. He qualified 3rd and came 3rd. Braden O'Cassidy came 4th in our first round too. So technically he got a 3rd there with Bryce Full with the wild card. Obviously, although winning the race in the championship doesn't get the points. So Braden O'Cass is one to watch out for. The Alice Springs, obviously normally doing the off-road racing, but he's been very, very fast in the ZB Commodore throughout our NTI Racing E-Series. Of course, all thanks to Shannons Insurance.
Yeah, just over 2.5 minutes left of this qualifying session. It's Anton Di Pasquale. One has held on to that top position throughout this whole thing. So his time, 5:24. Jordan Cox has managed to bring that time down for him with a 1:28.165. So he sits in second. but still a distance from the top spot of Anton De Pasquale. Then we go back to Paulie Mansell. He's sitting in the third position. He's a 128.241 for his best lap. A fourth position of Nathan Norman, a 128.389. And then fifth is Michael Schroeder with a 128.898. So, but Matty, I think the good thing here is as you look through the times that we've got here, 127, the top spot, we can see that definitely these guys on iRacing have started to improve because your final spot on this track and the final time is a 138.555. So you're talking about just 11 seconds difference in the top qualifying positions. So many varying levels of experience through iRacing and real-life racing throughout this whole field. And I think it's great to see that these times are definitely starting to tighten up.
Very interesting there. We see Jordan Cox and Paul Mansell only 1/10 apart, and these two are the ones that are fighting it out at the top of the championship board. Just 2 points between them. They've got basically one race each now. It looks like Jordan Cox may have just backed off the throttle there. Maybe he's waiting for some clean air. He's going to go for a lap, or maybe he's just content. He's going to pull this one in. With 1 minute left, they're not going to get much time there to finish this qualifying session off. Everyone's going to need to put in a fast lap. I'm just trying to see if Paul Mansell might have gone back out there, whether he's going to be content with third position, trying to see what he runs on this lap. As Dave McCartney comes out, big braking there. Paul Mansell has to go around him. 132 there for Paul Mansell, so he's obviously not in clean air again. So just trying to see maybe who else might be out there at the moment. Of course, the 96 car, Nathan Norman, see if he's gone into the pits as well. So there's not too many guys out there still on track. There's still a few. Ray Oliver's gone in as well. Damon McCartney's coming back out. Jake Burgess is, he's out there in the white Commodore tonight, the 100. We know he did have a nice big glowing livery, but looks like that may not have gone into our trading paints, unfortunately, so we might try and fix that in our break. Of course, we will have a small break between qualifying and racing where we will try and get you some, try and fix a couple of these small things. But, yeah, great footage coming your way this weekend, all thanks to Shannons Insurance and Madicab Media trying to bring you the best possible coverage of the Shannons Insurance NT iRacing E-Series. As qualifying has now finished, we're going to see who gets to finish their lap and what times they end up with in the standings. What we might do is we might just, we're not going to see who's coming up. We'll just go through the championship again, Tegan. If you want to go through that for me while we see exactly where everyone ends up.
Yeah, thank you. So we will start from position number 40. So 40th is Simon Bullash, hasn't competed in the first two rounds of this Shannons Insurance NT iRacing E-Series, got 2 points. We go back to 39, that's Adam Bergen sitting in there. 38th is Graham Craig, 37th, Brad Stott. We go back to Steve O'Coit. He is in 36th. 35th is the Lingmeister, Stephen Ling. Toby Coates, the Mountain, sitting in 34th. Samuel McGrade in 33rd with 41 points. 32nd is Rodney Jessup. Then we go to 31st. That's Stephen Sanderson. Nicky Sutton is sitting in position number 30. 29th is Carl Lecture. 28th is Evan Kay. And then Timmy Nickel in 27th. 26th is Richard Wilson. And then 25th, Barry Smith. 24th is Rossi Johnson. 23rd in front of him on 75 points, Zenek Radomski. Then we go to Tommy Orton in 22nd. Mitch Strzelecki in 21st. Then we go to your top 20. That is JD Luke in 20th position. As my screen just disappears.
Sorry, mate. We've gone through the top 20. Let's have a quick look at qualifying now. Anton De Pasquale is our number one, of course. Up the top, Jordan Cox, number 2, 6/10 behind him, so he's got a fair gap to change. Paul Mansell right behind him. Nathan Norman right behind him by another 10th. Kevin Norman probably half a second back from them. Michael Schroeder in 6th. Ray Oliver in 7th. Braden O'Cass in 8th, so it's good to see him still in the top 10. Zach Hudson in 9th. Callan Gear in 10th. JD Luke up to 11th. Dylan Saints in 12th. Rossi Johnson in 13, Michael Halkitis in 14, and Bradley Vaughan in 15 at the moment for qualifying in your race standings. So that is very interesting to see that come up. Jordan Cox and Paul Mansell, no surprise, Tegan Peck.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. He's done fairly well for himself there, Paulie Mansell. Just having a look through some of these comments. We are working through this, guys. The car sounds, we know you do want it. We are just a couple of guys trying to get this through to you and we will do what we can to make sure that we fix this for the main race.
We've got car sound now, buddy. I have fixed that in the background in my booth.
That is good.
My production booth. I'm just going through, trying to go through our leaderboard and see what's going there, but I think we have changed over to the race, in which case what it will do is it will reset all that as everyone is on the grid. Let's see if we can get back to our leader, which will be Anton De Pasquale in the number 99 car. Just trying to see if we can bring him up. He's obviously not on screen at the moment as we try and set the camera angle up here, and it's obviously not going to do what I want it to do. So that's what is going to happen just before the race, of course. The number 96 car, we'll see if we can bring him up on screen. Everything trying to load at the moment, and just trying to see if we can get a good view here of the start. Okay, there's at number 2 on the grid. Let's see if we can bring up Anton De Pasquale. No, he has not entered the race yet. We're obviously waiting for him to come on to... There we go, number 99 just comes up as I say that. So everyone's starting the race. This is the start of the race, ladies and gentlemen. Not long till we go green light. Anton De Pasquale, the wild card, has come in, set the time, beat everyone by 0.6 of a second over Jordan Cox. Then we got Paul Mansell. These are the two who are tussling it out in the championship at the moment, only 2 points behind them. And then it looks like we've got Nathan Norman behind him in the Mustang, one of the Norman brothers. So it's going to be a very interesting race. Hope you're on the edge of your seats. The Shannons Insurance NT iRacing E-Series about to get underway. This is race number 3 coming from Phillip Island here in Victoria in Australia. Don't forget, next round we head over to the US as we go to Laguna Seca for round number 4. But race number 3 at the moment here. Qualifying session, our wild card from the Erebus Motorsports, of course, the Penrite Racing, Anton Pasquale. It could start any time now. Looks like all the cars are lined up there. You can see them ready to go. Let's head over and just see exactly what is going on. Can't be long. There we go. The start's underway. Let's see if we can see any carnage down the back. Anton De Pasquale gets a good. Jordan Cox gets a nice start as well. They leave the rest of the pack. Don't know what happened to Paul Mansell. He's been overtaken there in the back of the pack there. So these two are going to battle it out in number 1 at the moment. Let's just have a look. As Jordan Cox putting some pressure there, but he's going to go around the outside. Tegan and Anton De Pasquale will close that inside gap there. They're going to have to warm these tyres up for the first few laps. Hopefully we don't see too much carnage down the back of the pack. It looks like someone's going off. There we go, someone down the back as well. I'm just trying to see which numbers they are. I can take you back, but we'll stay with the leaders at the moment.
Yeah, Jordan Cox definitely had a good start there. Both of those two cars up the front got off on a probably a 6 or 7 car length. And Jordan Cox did not let Anton De Pasquale go at all. So Jordan Cox is sitting in right behind him, so we'll see exactly what he can do and whether he can hold in there. Paul Mansell's dropped back to about 5th position now. We've got a couple of cars in behind him. He's managed to stretch his legs a little bit now. Got a couple of the Breaking Late podcast guys sitting in behind him. And this is heating up to be a nice, interesting start, that's for sure.
Oh, mate, this is going to be a great race, as I do believe we're just going to have a quick look at Zach Hudson there because he's chasing down Paul Mansell. So he's got a lot of pressure coming to him, though, from Braden O'Cass. Looks like the number 57. The Jaws contracting from Alice Springs, putting it on. Braden O'Cass keeping the pressure on him. So they've got a fair bit of work to do in this pack. They are bunched up. This is going to be very interesting tonight. Hopefully we don't see too many safety cars throughout this race. As we keep coming over, looks like we've already got someone back in the pits, but we're just trying to check out. What we might do is go back to the leaders of this race and see how that's going between Anton De Pasquale and Jordan Cox. Looks like Anton has opened up a small gap there over Jordan Cox at the moment, so a tiny little bit of breathing space. But the interesting thing is how much the gap is back to the rest of the field at the moment.
Yeah, that's for sure. They're definitely starting to stretch their legs a little bit there. Just having a look at the times. There's about a 3-second lead in between Jordan Cox. There's Anton De Pasquale, Jordan Cox, and then back to Michael Schroeder. So definitely a big gap there between those guys. So we'll see as this race goes on whether any of the guys in behind them can start to close the gap. But Anton De Pasquale starting to put 2 car lengths between himself and that second spot of Jordan Cox. Be interesting to see when Paul Mansell starts to come on strong here. Michael Schroeder sitting in between himself and that second position. So Michael Schroeder is in position 3. Then we go back to Paul Mansell. Ray Oliver in the 182 car is in 5th. Then we go back to Zach Hudson, Braden O'Cox, Kevin Norman, Dylan Sates, and David Worrell. That's your top 10 leading into these opening laps here at Phillip Island for the Shannons Insurance NT iRacing E-Series, round number 3.
Yeah, Michael Schroeder can't afford to make any mistakes at the moment because there is a line of people that want to take that position. They want to get it. You can see Paul Mansell there just lurking in the background. Didn't get the start he was looking for. Ray Oliver not far behind. Then it looks like Zach Hudson and Braden O'Cass just back there. If anything goes wrong in this little battle here, as we see Paul Mansell take a big move there, takes a dive going down the straight, and looks like he's going to get Schroeder on this turn though. Nice move there from the Vehicle Solutions NT ZB Commodore. And hard on the brakes here. This is where it is. Can he maintain it? Looks like he is. Braden O'Cass in the background there on Zach Hudson. This is a nice little huddle at the moment there. A lot of battling going on. I do believe Paul Mansell, probably judging by his qualifying times and the speed he carried earlier on in the race, I expect he may start to stretch away there as he's going to chase that front pack at the moment. Looks like, I'm just going to have a look there again at that front pack, because it looks like there might be a third person. Are they on lap traffic already, I believe? That might be a lap car already. So that's how fast they're going at the front of the pack. Of course, Paul Mansell there is in third position there, just open up on Schroeder, who's in fourth. And then we go back to Ray Oliver, Zach Hudson, and Braden O'Cass from the Alice Springs.
Yeah, starting to see the positions roll through down below. We can see some of the guys. Tommy Orton down in 40th. We were talking about how he would move forward, and Callan Gear just in front of him in 39th. So not sure what's going on with those guys. We're not able to go back to them yet. Oh, just as we see a couple of cars go behind in Ray Oliver, just behind them, a couple of cars spin out and lose it off the track there. So not sure exactly who that was that went off, but looking at a couple of positions, it might have been Brendan Jessup and Michael Freeman who might have gone around there. So unsure what happened. It looks like a couple of cars got together. Ray Oliver managed to keep his way forward. He's in fifth position, just ahead of Kevin Norman currently. So we'll see as these guys roll through. Looking back towards the tail end of the field, there is Jamie McCartney on screen right now. Nick on the side of his car, the number 27. He's been circulating fairly well during this series, so we'll see what he can do here to gather up all important points.
Very nice Jake Burgess behind him as well. So they got a little bit of a tussle going on down here too. And is that Norman just in front of him? Does that look like Mr. Nathan Norman? I'm just going to have a look on our screen and see exactly where he is running at the moment. Of course, the number 96 of Nathan Norman. Of course, the Braden Late, no, he's a bit further up. He's normally got the yellow livery on. That's where it's throwing me off at the moment. He is actually chasing down. Looks like I'm going to say that's Tommy Orton as we try and zoom in. The ZB Commodore High Power NT entry, of course, the High Power NT Mustang is off the track as I don't know what's going on there. Good to see
two high power cars running in there.
Good to see the High Power NT guys are running some livery this weekend. Of course, you can see the big ANZAC Spirit on the bonnet there. Of course, lest we forget this weekend, of course, the number 77 of Tommy Orton, he's up past his bedtime, but he's in the middle of the pack at the moment, and there's a bit of fight going on here. Nathan Norman, though, putting the pressure on. Oh, spin out there. That looks like Sam McGrade too. The number 16 car, is it a Sam McGrade? Is he 16? I think he is. No, I might have that wrong. Maybe he's 19. But I will look that up for you, because Sam McGrade coming off the track. Lots of them now losing their way and getting on the grass. That's all it takes, is a little bit of grass, and it is all over for you. Let's go and see what Tim Nichols is doing, because he has probably been the hard luck award for us so far in the series. We're just going through and seeing exactly where some of our familiar cars are in the pack at the moment. But it looks like he's got a little bit of a gap wherever he is. Let's head back to our number one, Anton De Pasquale, at the moment, and see how the battle for number one is going at the moment. Jordan Cox there, he's opened up that little bit of a gap, and I do believe the car behind him is not Paul Mansell, so that is another lap car there. So we go back 1.9 seconds to Jordan Cox, and it's another 6.3 seconds to Paul Mansell. Ray Oliver just behind him. The Kevin Norman and Dylan Saints a couple of seconds apart, but it's Stephen Sanderson in 7th and Rodney Jessup in 8th, fairly close too. So we might just see if we can get back to Stephen Sanderson and see how that little battle is going on down the pack. Rodney Jessup, of course, the tick of approval, ZB Commodore in the background. So he's opened up a little bit. Stephen Sanderson, the Jaws Contracting car, he has got a little bit of a gap there, the number 37. So lots of little battles going on. Of course, looks like we've just started to spread the field out a little bit. One person I'm actually looking at, which I don't really want to, is Mr. Stephen Ling. I'm just trying to see what number Mr. Lingy is. Is he 32? I'm just going to...
32, yep.
He's moved up quite a bit, isn't he? Because he is in 13th.
Yeah, he's done fairly well out of this. So looks like a lot of our leaders have started to pit already throughout the early stages of this race. We're only on around lap 4, so this is where some of the pitting strategy comes into play. So a lot of these guys will start to move forward as Stephen Ling goes to put a move on the 37 car. of Toby Coates here. So the David Leading General Insurers car moves up a position here, goes by Toby Coates. Unfortunately, both their liveries not popping up on our system, so not quite able to get them through for
I think
the
that's
live stream.
Lingy was preferred to go fishing.
Yeah, I think that is Lingy's livery.
Yeah. There's no fish on it and no coffee. There's no coffee stations on it.
He just drew his livery on the screen that he has at home. So, but yeah, no, Lingy doing fairly well for himself. He's moved up a few positions here. We'll see as the
This is it. Paul Mansell now
just
in the pits. Let's have a look at this though. Paul Mansell, who's behind him? Just be interested to see what is that Kevin Norman behind him? Couldn't see that. I think
it looked like that was Kevin Norman in behind him.
I actually reckon that was Nathan Norman, who's way down here. Of course, we want to have a look at some pit battles now and actually have a look at what's going on. So at the moment, Mansell took 32 seconds in that pit stop. Now Norman's going to be another one who's going to be tight on the pit stops. He'll know exactly how much fuel he wants to get. Not quite sure if Anton De Pasquale has pitted. He must have actually, because he's dropped back. Stephen Ling's winning. Stephen Ling's number one at the moment.
Oh, that is shocking in itself, isn't it?
So look at the difference here. Mansell's taken 32 seconds. Norman's taken 30. Does that mean Paul Mansell's just taken that little bit of extra fuel on maybe? Maybe. I'm just going to go to Anton De Pasquale and see exactly where he's sitting at the moment. He's in third behind Jordan Cox. Now, let's just have a look and see if we bring up Jordan Cox in here and see what times they did in the pits, because this is going to be interesting because it looks like that's where he's got the jump on him here as we bring up some information on your screen now. So Pasquale took an extra 2 seconds, not quite, but nearly an extra 2 seconds of fuel, and that's why Jordan Cox has the lead here. Has Cox taken a risk? Maybe he's banking on a safety car coming out during this race.
Yeah, now that's interesting in itself because Paul Mansell also took about 32 seconds, so both those guys taking those extra couple of seconds, which leads you to believe maybe he took on the extra little bit of fuel or maybe some tyres that will see him through the later stages of this race, Matty.
Yeah, very, very interesting there as it looks like we're going to come up. Anton De Pasquale trying to get the move done as we look behind the car of Jordan Cox at the moment. Look how close this is. De Pasquale all over the back of him, looking for any gap he can to put that nose in. The ZB Commodore wants to get past him. Here we go. Look how close it is coming around the corner. We can see right in that front scooter. Now we go. He's going to make a move under brakes. Let's head back to the other view. Oh, and he looks like is he going to get the job done? They're going to have to pull up here. He's got the greater line though, De Pasquale. He's got the better line. And looks like he is going to get the move done there on Jordan Cox. So Jordan Cox, unfortunately, has to give up that first position, which he's done on that pit stop by almost 2 seconds. He's cut his pit stop down, and that's how he got the lead over Anton in the pit stop break, if you've just joined us on the live stream. I tell you what, Anton got it on pit entrance by a bit marker going by a back marker. I think it is going a bit slow. So someone else is obviously logged on the game. They've got some views that we haven't seen. So the back marker there is the difference. But he has taken more fuel on, is what we can assume with that extra. Let's see what happens at the end of the race. We've been watching some races here at Phillip Island, and we know if you don't take enough fuel on, guys are running out of fuel as they cross the finish line. So maybe Anton's going to have a bit extra at the end. Same with Paul Mansell. He took that 32 seconds on.
Yeah, we're just having a look as they start to get on through. Paul Mansell still sitting back in sixth position. Got Michael Schroeder, Zach Hudson and Ray Oliver in between him and the podium right now. So that is your current point score leader as we head into round number 3. We'll see exactly as we get on through. Right now, Jordan Cox only two points behind the top spot of Paul Mansell. Paul Mansell looks like he's moved up a couple of positions there. And Jordan Cox only 2 positions behind him. So if Jordan Cox can finish ahead of Paul Mansell in this round number 3 race, potentially you might have a new points leader as we go into round number 4, which will be held at Laguna Seca. So we'll wait and see exactly how this race plays out. We've got 28 minutes left to go of this main race, Phillip Island, the Shannons Insurance round number 3 NT iRacing E-Series.
I'm just going to bring up a bit of a battle there between Zach Hudson and Schroeder, who I believe may have been in the pit. See, Hudson there only 24 seconds in the pit, so he has not taken a lot of fuel on. Wonder whether he started maybe with more fuel, or he's going to take the risk and see if he can run it all the way to the end. Getting a little bit looser. I know some of the guys like to take a little bit extra fuel on, so the car actually handled better on this track with the weight. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what has happened there. So Paul Mansell and Michael Schroeder up on our screens at the moment. 1-2, Zach Hudson back, but I'm just trying to see if Schroeder's in between them up on the screen. We might head over to Michael Schrotter in a second and just see, there he is, just in front. So it's Mansell, Schrotter and Zach Hudson. This is going to be a nice battle, I think, between these three as the race continues, because there's just a little bit of gap between them, but one slight little mistake, and they're going to be biting at the heel of Paul Mansell. Steve Sanderson also looks like he's in a little bit of a battle down there too. I believe he is number 37. Here we go. Stephen Ling there in the front. Toby Coates, sorry, is 37. So Stephen Ling and Toby Coates got the lights on. It's a beautiful sunrise in the background here on the iRacing simulation here tonight for our round number 3, of course, the ANZAC round of the Shannons Insurance NTE Series. Toby Coates putting some pressure on Stephen Ling, who for just a split second was leading this race. Just a split second.
We're even confident here because we're giving Lingy a bit of a hard time, but Lingy gives it just as good as he takes it, doesn't he, Matty?
Oh, mate, I tell you what, we've got a fair bit of hit from him over the years, so it's but it's good to see him out there having a good time. So Stephen Sanderson on track now. The Jaws Contracting Alice Springs entry. Just looks like he is going to be stuck there in the middle between Dylan Sates and Rodney Jessup. So just watching him on screen there, you can see Rodney Jessup just in the tick of approval in the background there, just trying to close that gap out. We are starting to see them just start to space out a little bit again. So here we go. Just coming together of there. It looks like it is the Chaplain, and I'm just going to go back to an instant replay. It is Nathan Norman, is it? No, Kevin Norman. Kevin Norman, the number 3. Let's just see what happens here. Looks like there they just rub bumpers here. And then it is Kevin Norman comes in on the inside of Adam Bergen, and a big spin there from the Cam's Landscaping and Lawn Mowing entry gets spun around. And Kevin Norman will have to go on. I wonder whether he's going to get some sort of penalty for that. Let's just see where he may have ended up. He's still going around in the field there, though. Looks like he might be chasing JD Lucas. Dylan Saints has spun out as well. So, and, of course, looks like we've got the number 47, Stephen Sanderson, as well. I'm not quite sure. We'll go back 10 seconds and see if we can grab that one. Maybe we can see exactly what's happened here, because I do see Dylan Saints spun out at the same time. So just trying to see what happened to Stephen Sanderson. Nice views there too, as you can see him going down the gears. Of course, the unburnt fuel just popping some flames out the side of the car. So Dylan Saints is already spun, and then, of course, Stephen Sanderson has had to go wide and on the grass to avoid making contact. So that is how that one has happened. So good to see we're getting some vision coming up on the screens. Let's just have a quick look. I've seen in the background there, of course, the Darwin Automobile Care car of Barry Smith getting around. Rodney Jessup behind him. I do believe Barry Smith might be a lap car, Tegan.
Yeah, just having a look through here to just try and work out exactly where he might be sitting right now. So he is showing off screen and at quite a fair way back. So it looks like he might be a lap down at this stage. So yeah, definitely a lap car for Barry Smith.
We'll bring up some rolls along the bottom. He'll give us anything outside of our top 15, so you can see exactly where everyone is down the order. For everyone watching around on Facebook, give us a shout out on the Facebook if you are watching. Where you're watching from? If you are from overseas, anywhere in Australia, good to see where you may be watching from. If you're enjoying the live coverage, we hope you bring everything that we possibly can. As I'm just trying to see the Rodney Jessup car and see how he is going at the moment. Of course, he's in a little bit of a battle there at the back. There's Mr. Stephen Ling. And obviously Richard here now, the number 33, of course. We spoke to him earlier about Anzac Day. Used to be in the army and just having a nice little coffee and a rum for his dawn service this morning. It looks like he's just going wide as some cars going past him. Schrotter looks like he's going past there too, and Zach Hudson right behind him. Jake Burgess in front, but he will be a lap car. So I'm just having a look. We've missed Paul Mansell. Something's happened to him. He's gone back to 6th. So Schrotter's got past him. He must have made a mistake there. Zach Hudson's gone past him, and now Paul Mansell is behind. So those two have made it past, and now Paul Mansell has a bit of work to get back in that top 3. He can't let Jordan Cox get too much on him, because Jordan Cox is only 2 points behind him in the championship, Tegan.
Yeah, you're dead right. It's a bit of a challenge for him. But this is what's going to make the NT iRacing E-Series, thanks to Shannons Insurance, quite interesting, is if this leadership battle just keeps bouncing backwards and forwards between the two of them. Paul Mansell led it by 2 points leading into this one. We'll see if Jordan Cox can hold on to that position. He's 1.581 seconds in behind the race leader, the wildcard entry of Anton De Pasquale. Jordan Cox in second position right now, 2 points behind the leader, so we'll see exactly what Jordan Cox can do throughout this race. If he can hold this together, he might end up the pointy end of the leaderboard as we get out of round number 3 here at Phillip Island.
Yeah, Anton De Pasquale just looking quite comfortable out there with that little bit of a lead. I'm just going to head back down the pack to, looks like Kevin Norman here. It looked like he was in a bit of a battle, but maybe he's spun out as well because he's dropped, he's just in front of Rodney Jessup there and Michael Shaw, but I was hoping to actually see them in the background because it doesn't look like they're too far behind him on the timing boards, and you can just see their lights in the background just trying to get the number up of Rodney Jessup so we can change over to where he is. As the number 43 there this time goes up in the air, big hit over and over and over for the 43, and that's a big hit really, isn't it? That's a huge hit there for Graham Craig, the man with two first names. We send him back to the pits. We'll try and get back with our race leader for a second. There we go. Now we're coming up to lap traffic. Looks like Jake Burgess just holding Anton up, doing everything he can with Jordan Cox. I wonder if there's a bit of banter going on over Discord at the moment. Maybe the boys are just in there saying, hold him up for me. Let Jordan go through. Yeah,
Get the job done, could you?
have a look behind Anton De Pasquale now. The gap is next to nothing there back to Jordan Cox. You can see those headlights. Look at him flashing away. Oh, they're letting the high power car. That's Nick Sutton there in the Mustang, the number 42 entry. They're saying, get out of the way. I do not want to let Anton get away this time. He is not getting away from me.
It was pretty good to see there with Jordan Cox. He dropped back to about 1.9 seconds gap difference, but then actually closed it back in as they went by the lap car there. So Jordan Cox definitely doing what he can not to let Anton De Pasquale get away from him. So Jordan, he could be one of the guys who challenges our wildcard entry as we get through round number 3 here. You can just see they're both running a perfect line. And, this might be a good advantage here for Jordan Cox is, not only is he sitting behind someone like Anton De Pasquale, who not only has a lot of real-life racing experience, but a lot of iRacing experience, he's getting to see his lines through. We just see, who is that there?
That's Simon Borlash. That's the Recon Adventures entry, the RTS entry, but Recon Adventures on, and that's what Jono's taught him to do. Go bush and do some recon. That's what he's taught him.
I've done a lot of recon here.
Doing some recon there, I can tell you. Let's go
Simon,
back live to our
Simon doing
leaders.
the right thing. He definitely pulled it off there. He went to re-enter the track and realised he's pulling back in front of a couple of cars. I would say he wouldn't even realise that was a race leader. He's just realised that he's gone to pull back in front of some cars on track and pulled out there and not done the wrong thing. So good to see Simon getting back on track, and I'm sure he'll join the race and continue on around here as your race leader comes down the front straightaway. This is Anton De Pasquale leading the race. Jordan Cox still holding a good race. Tight gap there between himself and the front car. 0.480 in between himself and Anton.
Just trying to look back at Damien McCartney because he looks like he's in a little bit of a battle back there in between 9th and 10th position, just trying to hold on to 9th position over Nathan Norman. So Nathan Norman looks like he may have got the job done just then because it looks like the Mustang is in front. So Nathan Norman just takes that number 9 position, last one off Damien McCartney. Let's head over to Nathan Norman. There he is, the flat-out car to enter in the Mustang, of course. Kevin's in the Commodore, Nathan in the Mustang. And he's got the move done, and you can see there it will update on our time. So he's got to chase his brother down now, who has about a 6-second lead over him in this one, who's currently in 8th position, and Nathan in 9th. So that will update for you very, very shortly. All we might do is, look, there we go, it's changed over now. So as they go around, things updating. Anton De Pasquale is your race leader at the moment, and he has a nice little lead over Jordan Cox. So he's keeping that distance nicely at the front. Then Ray Oliver back there just waiting to see what happens. Here we go as we go through lapped cars. This is where things can come unstuck for him though, because Anton had some dramas going into pit lane for his pit and a couple of nearly 2 extra seconds, so we thought that might have been fuel, but if he was held up going by back markers, then maybe that's where the extra seconds are in the pit stop. But it may come good for Jordan Cox because he's so close to just staying with him. He just needs to make it happen. Looks like the yellow flag is out. We may have a yellow flag on track. Tegan Peck. Looks like the yellow coming out, which may bunch the field up again. Let's see if the safety car will make it out on track. This is going to be very, very interesting. Safety car out on track now. So Tim Nichols is stuck behind. This is where it's going to get very interesting when people are going to get stuck behind as the pace car. So let's just get this off our screens at the moment, and I'm going to go through our little mini leaderboard here and see exactly where everyone is at the moment as the safety car comes out. Of course, Anton De Pasquale is leading at the moment. Jordan Cox now is going to be right up the back bumper. He wants to get in front of Tim Nichols, though, who is a back marker car. Then we go back to Ray Oliver, who's a couple of cars back again. Let's just see if we can get a view of maybe just exactly how far back that is. So Ray Oliver's a couple of cars back. Zach Hudson is your 4th place at the moment. Of course, that's not what it looks like on track because we have some back markers in the middle. Let's see if maybe they get a drive-by to go in front in this. Paul Mansell had something happen. He went back to 5th, but he's made up a position over Michael Schotter again, got himself back into 5th position. Michael Schotter in 6th. Braden O'Cass has made a bit of a move up to 7 after qualifying, I think, 9th off the top of my head. Kevin Norman in 8th, Nathan Norman in 9th, so the two brothers are going to battle that out. That's going to be fantastic to watch. Damien McCartney back in 10th. 11th is Rodney Jessup and then it's Rossi Johnson in 12th. Michael Gore in 13th. 14th will be Stephen Stanson, and then Evan Cooklinus. He's doing nicely in this round. 15th already as the safety car goes around. Matty Burns in 16th after a broken shifter in qualifying. Nearly got him out of the race, but looks like he's made it back in that electric NT entry. Dylan Sates in 17. He had a spin early. We saw that up on the replay. Cullen Gear in 18th. JD Luke, the number 97, the podcast, Breaking Late podcast entry in 19. 20th position is Michael Freeman. Mitchell Strzelecki in 21st. Sam McGrade in the ACUG entry in 22nd. David Worrell in 23rd. Tommy Orton in 24th. Michael Howkidis in 25th. Nick Sutton in 26th. We know he's been trying to stay out of the way of some of these faster cars. Simon Bullash in 27th, doing a bit of recon earlier out in the gravel pit. Toby Coates getting around in 28th at the moment. Bradley Vaughan in 29th. Stephen Ling in 30th after a brief moment of leading the race before pit stopping. Zdenek Radomski's dropped off the pace a little bit there in the 2-2-1 entry. Then we go back to Richard Wilson at 32, Carl Letcher at 33, Barry Smith in the Darwin Automobile Care entry at 34. Then it's Tim Nichols in 35, who's actually sitting there behind our race leader, behind the safety car. Brad Stopp in the Farmers Union Ice Coffee entry in 36. Adam Bergen in 37, who got spun around a little bit earlier by Kevin Norman. 38th is Jake Burgess. He's not having a great run tonight after staying in the top 10 for most of the series. Graham Craig, after that spectacular crash, went back to the pits in 39th. And Dylan Thompson in 40th. And take a breath.
No, you've done well, Matty. You've gone through the entire 40 cars. It's not an easy feat to get on through. We've got just over 15 minutes left of this race, and the safety car is out. We'll get back under fire soon. Be interested to see, Matty, what can Jordan Cox do here? Di Pasquale's done a pretty fantastic job to lead this one, but Jordan Cox definitely showing his experience here and being able to get the job done and stay in with that wildcard entry. So Ray Oliver had a pretty rough first run on the opening round, but sitting up in 3rd, and I imagine he'll hold on to that position as we get through this race. 14 minutes, 30 seconds left to go with the safety car out on track.
Steve Sanderson, unfortunate for him because he was doing really well, and then he's gone around Dylan Sates when we saw on the replay earlier and accidentally dropped a wheel off the grass, and that spun him out. So that's probably hurt him a little bit. Jordan still put a little less fuel in, though. I think you're right, Robert Clancy. He did put a little bit less fuel in. So going to be very, very interesting, though. But with the safety car, will that come into his favour? Will he be able to make it? Like you're saying, we've tuned into a couple of practice races and a couple of real races this week. They've run them on very similar laps. I do believe one of the races we watched was 28 laps, and the safety car came in about the same time. Now, they only just made the first fuel stop, and then towards the end they nearly ran out, but they were running limited fuel, so maybe these guys will spend an extra second or two in the pits and just put enough fuel in to make it to the end. Tommy Orton, Nick Sutton, Brad Stott, Adam Bergen, they will fill to the brim because they have burnouts to do after this. Priorities. Anton, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll fill up to the end because your priority may not be burnouts. Jordan, I reckon you're pretty competitive. I don't reckon you're worried about the burnouts at the end. But the guys in the bottom 20, they're worried about the burnouts.
I'm trying to find the cheat code to get into the safety car, the Porsche, for the burnout competition at the end of this whole show.
Well, technically we're entered. Does that mean you can bring a car up on the last lap?
I think if you and I can get a car out on track as the final lap goes around, like we might be a little bit distracted leading into that final round and final lap, and might not get the final lap and check her finish across the line over commentary. But I swear we will get the best burnout out on track. Well,
Yeah.
Fresh tyres, Matty.
Fresh tyres, that's what I mean. But we can last longer.
Not usually something people say.
All right, let's go through that leaderboard. I'll just keep scrolling through so you know exactly where it is. Looks like Tim Nichols been given the drive around. So now some of these cars have been given the drive around, so that means that they can go past the safety car and drive around to the back of the field. So Tim Nichols has been given the drive through. We're going to start seeing cars more in the order, bunch back up, see Ray Oliver there in third position, Zach Hudson in fourth, Paul Mansell in fifth. Now, he probably the one that's going to advantage the most in this because something happened and we missed it in the race. I'm sure he'll pull it up for us after the race. He'll be able to pull it up because he is obviously recording his race. Something happened, he dropped back a couple of positions, and he got back past Michael Schroeder. He's got back into fifth position now, and now closing this gap up is going to be a huge advantage for him. And with that extra little bit of fuel, I think Mansell can go all the way under full power to the end. It's got to be him and Jordan Cox. He's going to have to get the third position. You can't let Jordan Cox get 2 or 3 positions worth of points on him leading into the next couple of rounds.
Yeah, you're spot on there, Matty. If it's going to be one thing with 2 points difference for him to finish just ahead of him, but if it is 4 or 5 positions ahead of him, then it's going to really hurt the championship standings as he heads into round number 4 of this series. Only a 5-round series, so very limited when it comes to the available points. So Paul Mansell definitely going to want to finish as high as possible with Jordan Cox looking strong throughout the opening laps. We've done about 15 odd laps. I think it's lap 16 now. Come up to lap 17 as the safety car leads us through. And we're only probably going to get around 28 to 30 laps for this race. There's over 11 minutes left to go. Still under safety car conditions. Hopefully the safety car gets off on this lap around. And we'll be able to get this race back underway.
Well, I'm just going to do some quick calculations here because I'm not going to get them done in my head. But if we go to a 10-minute sprint lap to the end, we are probably going to get, I'm just going to put this in, we're probably going to get about 5 laps. So if we've got 10 minutes left, I'm going to say we will be on our 5th lap when the time runs out, so we will complete that lap. So look at 5 laps left in this sprint race. I'm going to change.
That's exactly why I shouldn't try and do maths in my head, Matty.
That is exactly why I have a calculator sitting next to me.
Yes. I did a quick calculation in my head, and I got 44 laps left to go.
I love the people tuning in. Was that Scruffy at flag 1? I would really love to know, and we need to talk to our iRacing specialists, if we can actually superimpose some of the faces of our officials out on track in the background. How good would that be? I think we should be able to get it on the pace car. You and me should be in control of that pace car. We are race underway. It looks like the pace car is off the field. Let's go back to our leaders. This is going to be it. Zach Hudson. That is Jordan Cox doing a big move on the outside. Will he make it stick? Zach Hudson's going to put pressure on too. Paul Mansell looks like he's made it up into 4th. He's got past Ray Oliver, so I don't know what happened there to Ray Oliver. This is a good one. Jordan Cox now in the lead. How good is this race going to be? 5 laps to the finish is our prediction. We have 9 minutes, 39 seconds. But we've calculated 5 laps is all we think we're going to get out of this. Here we go. Anton Di Pasquale now is delegated to second. He's going to have to put the pressure on to Jordan Cox. Jordan Cox needs to win over the top of Paul Mansell so he can get back in the championship lead. He's 2 points behind him in the championship. But here it is. Look at the battle that's going on between these two. I am so excited, Tegan Peck. These guys are close.
Jordan Cox, huge move off the restart there and got a little bit squirrely as he hit the ripple strip there as he went through the sweep bed heading up from the hairpin. And Di Pasquale definitely started to close in a little bit, but Jordan Cox hugged his line and held him out there and didn't quite let Di Pasquale through. So we'll see what Jordan Cox has here as we head to the next lap. That is lucky it's a race simulator because that would have been a massive smash there as Di Pasquale just touches the back of the box. That might be a little bit of a system glitch there that shows, but we are on board with Jordan Cox right now. Currently in 3rd position. Puts on the first lap on the board since the restart. So about 4 laps left to run here. 8 minutes 30 left to go. So we'll go 8 minutes and 30 seconds. And whatever lap we're left on will be the finishing lap. Cox holding a good line as he goes through the first sweeping corner. Comes up to the first hairpin. Di Pasquale starts to close in on him. Gets right on the tail end there. Doesn't make any contact. This is a fantastic view here of Di Pasquale's car. Di Pasquale not letting any room between himself and that number 6 of Cox. Cox doing a fantastic job here. Not feeling the pressure from Di Pasquale. As I say that, Cox goes out wide. Will he hold the low line here off Di Pasquale? Gets down to the low line, holds him out for the hairpin. Di Pasquale stays back in 2nd position. Cox holds out in 1st. Matty Cav, this race is on.
Oh no, we've got everything going on the back, but I think we've just had a change of lead as well. I'm just trying to have a look. It looks like Di Pasquale. Oh no, Jordan Cox has gone off. I'm going to try and go back to that replay. it's going to have to be a little bit of time here. Looks they go around. Let's look at the slow motion replay on this one. Jordan Cox took that inside line exactly like you said. It was Pasquale on the outside, just waiting to see if they come together on this one. Of course, our slow motion, Pasquale's car unloads a little bit, gets a little bit loose there coming out of the corner. Here we go. He's right on the back, just trying to see if we can get a better view of this one. Does he put the nose in? I'm not quite sure. Pasquale puts the nose in this time as we look at him go at... they go wide. Unfortunately, Jordan Cox there goes a little bit wide. Pasquale puts the nose in. Cox off onto the gravel. I'm not going to put anything on that. I do not want to be the person who makes that decision.
Yeah, look, I think that might have been a little bit of a... Cox was definitely trying to hold his line and trying to get through there and really held his own and did what he could. But I think... Di Pasquale might have got his nose in enough there that it unsettled Cox and unfortunately went off wide. These corners very unforgiving if you get off your racing line. You just go on board with your current third position sitter, which is Paul Mansell. Not sure where Jordan Cox has dropped back to. This is good news for Paul Mansell because that means he gets up to position number 3 and holds out those championship points. So Jordan Cox currently 8th position in the ZP Holden Commodore. So
I know, it looks like that is that Schroeder that's turned around, I think, the number 63.
Yeah, I think that was Schroeder, yeah.
Well, I'll find the number 63. That was Schroeder, the Vision Motorsport entry too. He has spun out that one, so that's unfortunate for him too. So Cox get a little bit of a break there, a couple of positions, but Mansell here is the big improver. 2 positions he's moved up, and it looks like he is chasing it is Nathan Norman in front in the Mustang. So Nathan Norman's had a big restart too, because he was 8th from memory when we were doing the restart. So he's had a good one too. These guys are flying at the front. Yeah, I'm just trying to see what happened to Zach Hudson because he was in this mix too, and something may have happened to him. I'm just trying to see exactly where Zach Hudson has gone down to, so 10th. So something's happened to him on track as well as he's dropped down the field. So this is unfortunate. It's great to see how much close racing we've had, but yes, it hasn't been the restart we're looking for. It looks like one of the high power NT entries rejoining the race. I'm just trying to see where Nathan Norman is. Of course, he is the number 96, I believe. There he is in 2nd position too. So he has Paul Mansell chasing all over the back of him. The gap is next to nothing. So Paul Mansell's only got a few laps left in this one. I'm going to say about 3 laps left in this race as they come around the start finish line not far away. So he's going to have to start making some moves. It's going to be hard to beat Norman because a lot of karting experience there compared to a lot of iRacing experience. Great to see an ANZAC livery on the front.
Nathan Norman, 96 car, he is currently sitting in 5th on the point score with 215 points. And he is, 290 is the top score. And then you go back to 215, which is his points leader right now. As Ray Oliver, it looks like he's gone up and over. Just see as he goes through the corner there, gets very wide. And unfortunately, it looks like Nick Sutton, the higher power car, nowhere to go, just taps him around there. It looks like, he just gets tagged again.
That's unfortunate for him. So he will rejoin.
I think he got tagged by about 3 cars there and then ended up on his lid. So very unfortunate. As I said, Nathan Norman is sitting in 2nd currently. And these points could be all important wildcard points, not counting for the overall point score. So Nathan Norman potentially will drop up a few positions here if he ends up finishing in 2nd position. So Paul Mansell wants to make his move where he can. Only a few minutes left to go of this main race, the Shannons Insurance NT iRacing E-Series. Round 3 at Phillip Island, and what a race it's been. We thought Bathurst and Brands Hatch were exciting, but this has been probably my favourite so far, Matty.
I tell you what, the safety car brought everyone back together. Paul Mansell got a gift. He got given a gift for that safety car because he's gone 2 positions up. And then again, Jordan Cox and Anton Di Pasquale coming together there. I mean, Anton put his nose in. Jordan probably should have given him the room. He was already out wide. We'll let the officials deal with that. But unfortunately for Jordan Cox, that meant he went off track. He's dropped back quite a few positions there. He's now back into 6th position. He went back to 8th, so he's been working his way back up. Braden O'Cass still there too. Remember, he's 3rd in the championship, so if he can finish in front of Jordan Cox, he may be able to close down some of those points as well. So this is going to be very interesting times for these few drivers there as we go through them. I mean, we're looking at Braden O'Cass was on 260 points, so any advantage, he's 28 points behind Jordan Cox, and he's 30 points behind Paul Mansell. Now, at the moment, you'd think he's not going to catch Paul Mansell, but can he hold out Jordan Cox? Because Jordan Cox, I would expect, is going to start putting some big pressure onto Kevin Norman, which is looks like he is too. So here's going to be another little battle here. Jordan Cox, look at him just getting a little bit loose there, a little bit of frustration probably showing in his driving after he almost had Anton De Pasquale. How good is it? In the pit stop he got past him, so he don't pit on him to try and get past him. In the restart he's got past him, and then unfortunately going off track, and that's what's dropped him back. So we were expecting to see him duel to the end. He's just made that position up on Kevin Norman though as he moves into 5th position now. So Brave No Cass needs to watch his rear vision mirror because Jordan Cox is back on a move and he's throwing absolutely everything at it.
Yeah, and as you said with the point score here, with Kevin Norman currently sitting in 6th, he's back in 13th spot currently in the leadership board, and then Damien McCartney, who's currently in 7th position, he is 17th overall on the point score. So some all-important points here for the guys as we get into the final stages. We are past the halfway point of the Shannons Insurance NCI Racing E-Series. And these guys are definitely going to make some good points up here and maybe get their way through and up towards the pointy end of this. Paul Mansell looking like he might hold out the top spot here with Jordan Cox back in 5th position. So we'll see if Jordan can make some points forwards and at least keep that gap nice and tight.
So here it is, Nathan Norman, Paul Mansell. It's 0.65 of a second. It's just under 7/10 of a second in this one. Adam Bergen getting out of the way. Good to see the Cams Landscaping and Lawn Care entry just moving. Brad Stott also moving out of the way. So here it is. This is the battle for second position. Nathan Norman, Paul Mansell. We've got plenty of these battles going on because then you move back to Braden O'Cass as well. So this one here is under 1 second at the moment. Then we move back to Braden O'Cass and look at Jordan Cox closing that gap down. It says 1.6 seconds, but I know that hasn't updated. There we go. 0.42 of a second. Look at this. Jordan Cox throwing everything. He's pushing there to try and grab that 4th position. We are only going to finish this lap, I reckon. We're going to... We've just gone past, so I do believe we will only finish this lap in this one. Let's go back to our race leader at the moment who has a clear gap. He is 7 seconds in the lead. So Anton De Pasquale, our wildcard entry from Erebus Motorsports. Of course, the Penrite entry looks like he's going to take the win. Let's see how they go. Let's just go back to that. In the background, you can see the battle going on here between Norman and Mansell. There's nothing in it. Mansell's only got a few corners left to make this battle happen. He wants that second position because Jordan Cox is chasing down Braden O'Cass. He might get it done too. Looks like the tyres have gone off for Mansell because he was getting loose. He's throwing everything at it. I'm pretty sure the tyres have gone off, but I'm pretty sure he's going to have fuel on board as well. Oh, this is going to be a tight finish, Tegan.
Yeah, for sure. You're dead right there. The battle is on in a major way. I mean, Anton De Pasquale stretched his legs by about 7 minutes. 7 seconds. 7 minutes would be a huge feat by him. But 7 seconds, he's definitely starting to get away from those second 2 spots. And
no, Braden O'Cass has gone off.
Yes.
What's going on here? I don't really want to go to instant replay. Oh, no, we won't because we want to go back to our leader. I do believe he's probably about to go over the finish line. So Braden O'Cass goes back. And it looks like Anton having a little bit of fun out there, putting the drift moves on. No, he's gone off into the grass. Will this mean that Nathan Norman may go to the lead? I don't know what's going to go on. Nathan Norman, where are you? Oh, he could come around and do this. This is going to be interesting right now. Just looking at the rear chase, see if we can see the car come out in front. Looking around. Where is Anton? Has he rejoined the race? There we go. Look how close this is going to be. Can he make it back onto the track? Nathan Norman coming down. Paul Mansell's dropped off. Right, the race is over. Sorry, I think we're calling it. The race is over. It hasn't come up our flag. I was excited. He's just having a good time. He's having a good time, mate. What can we say? So we will go.
The joys of virtual racing. We're not sure exactly where we're at. Yeah. But we're just running off the exact point standings. But I was with you, Matty. I thought Anton De Pasquale might have completely come off as Simon McGrade starts the celebratory burnouts out on track, and it looks like he will be joined by everyone. What a race, Matty. There was absolute complete battle changes all the way through. That was fantastic.
Unfortunate for Jordan Cox. Let's go through our results table as we bring them up now. Anton De Pasquale wins by 7.9 seconds over Nathan Norman, who came second in that Mustang. And it's Paul Mansell in 5, who had a bit of a battle going on. Jordan Cox, unfortunately, with Anton De Pasquale in the last couple of laps. Not quite sure if they actually came together, but it's sent him back to 8th position. He's made it all the way back to 4th. Then we've got Kevin Norman. Braden O'Cass came off the last minute when he was battling with Jordan Cox. Maybe a bit too much pressure. That's unfortunate because he's 3rd in the championship at the moment. Michael Gore in 7th. Cullen Gear in 8th. Zach Hudson, who was up there battling it out for a bit, I think something happened to him as well, is down in 9th. Michael Haukitas, that's a big move to get back up to 10th.
JD Luke is in position 11. Sorry, just having a bit of a laugh as my dad looks over. He's listening on his iPad and tells me this is pretty good. So some good things there coming from my father. Good tick of approval.
He's
Matty
saying
Burns
anything nice about
finishes. Yeah, Matty Burns finishes in position number 12. Then we go to Rossi Johnson. He's in position number 13. 14th is Dylan Saints. Got up there during that race, but dropped back there to 14. 15th is Sammy McGrade, the burnout king for the end of the race. We go to Damien McCartney. Good result for him, finishing in 16th. Michael Freeman in 17th. Ray Oliver, unfortunately, up towards the top 3 in the early stage of that race. He finishes in position number 18. We go back to Michael Schroeder. He's in position number 19. Then 20th is David Morrill.
Yeah, Mitchell Strzelecki in 21. Ronnie Jessup, particular approval entry in 22. Evan Goodwin in 23. Stephen Sanderson, who had a nice little battle earlier on, was a bit further up the field in 24th. Bradley Vaughan in 25th. Simon Bullash doing a bit of recon earlier. We saw that on the replay in 26th. Toby Coates made his way back up to 27th. Stephen Ling in 28th, which is where he's sort of been around in the field lately. Richard Wilson in 29th. Barry Smith in the Commodore makes it back up to 30th position.
Yeah, then we go on to position number 31. That's Carl Lecter. He finishes it out there. Nick Sutton not getting the result he had hoped for in position number 32. Jake Burgess, one of the guys who's definitely dropped off, was in the top 10 for this point score leading into this round. He's in position number 33. Timmy Nicol, the Hard Luck Award, he's in position number 34. We go back to position number 35. Another guy who potentially could have been up towards the pointy end of the field. He finishes in position number 35, that's Eddie Radomski, and then 36 is Adam Bergen. Brad Stott finishes in position number 37. Man with 2 first names, Graham Craig, finishes in position number 38. Tommy Orton in the 77 car, position number 39. And then rounding out your field, Dylan Thomas in position number 40. What a race that was there. Matty Cav, Anton De Pasquale, the wildcard entry, comes through with the win, and the battles that went on throughout. That was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, big thanks to all our sponsors, of course, Shannons Insurance for the NT iRacing E-Series. We hope everyone from Shannons joined in tonight and loved the coverage. Of course, Tony and Rhonda from Vehicle Solutions NT. Check them out on the newer street. Any vehicle modifications you want. Lukey's Autos Repairs, also in Winelli, of course, knows lots about go-karts. The Breaking Late podcast, but get your cars fixed there. Timmy Nicol Photography, who was out there getting around, does great work across motorsports in the Northern Territory. Of course, Mattycat Media bringing you your live streams tonight. We've got plenty in the production. We are getting it better and better as this goes on. Shout out to Motorsports NT, of course, supporting all the motorsport types across the Northern Territory, and hopefully we'll get them back out on track to you as soon as possible. But there is Adam Bergen. He's doing some landscaping, all thanks to Cam's Landscaping and Lawn Mowing. And how good is that? He just likes to unleash with some burnouts.
If he can wear out the tyres at the end of the race, he'll do it. He, as we said, a true gentleman getting around here with the iRacing series. Great to have him on board. Shannons Insurance, the NT iRacing E-Series, round number 3 at Phillip Island. We thank you all for joining us, and hope you join us. We'll be back next Saturday night. Laguna Seca in the USA will be round number 4, and then the final round will be the Saturday night after that, where we'll be back at Bathurst, where we all started. I am looking forward to exactly how the guys start to tune in and hone their skills, trying to make sure that they are in for a race for the next rounds. We'll see on the next couple of days, we'll have the point score start to pop up. I mean, Matty Cav, we've seen the point score change straight away leading after the second round of Brands Hatch, so we'll see exactly what happens with the point score. That'll be on the Improved Production Racing Association Northern Territory Facebook page. So make sure if you haven't given that a like, jump on board, give it a like, check it out, and make sure you keep up to date with exactly what's going on with the points for this series.
Yeah, can't wait for round number 4. Don't know what we're going to bring in production. We're going to fix a couple of things up. We're going to add something to it. What have we done every week, Tegan? We have added something. We've given value back into this. Of course, Shannons Insurance getting on board, Vehicle Solutions NT. When they give to us, we give back, and that's what we're going to do next week. We'll find something else to give you. I hope you enjoyed this special ANZAC Day coverage, of course. We hope that you enjoyed the chaplains who we got. Phil Zamagears, need to thank you. Adam Bergen, thank you for your time. Tegan Peck, thank you for your time as well for videoing all that. and we'll put it all together here and we send it out on the live stream, all thanks to Madicap Media, of course. Can't wait to go to California next week as we go to Laguna Seca out there in California. That's going to be another great track. We'll see plenty of practice this week. 3.6 kilometres, that one. So another small track, 40 cars, going to be very interesting. But yes, the season's rounding out. Paul Mansell now opens up a slightly bigger lead over Jordan Cox. It's not going to be too many points because Jordan Cox managed to get his way back up into that fourth position. So it's going to be very interesting, the championship. Braden O'Cass dropped back a little bit. Might be interesting to see who gets into the top 10 now, with Jake Burgess not having a great week and a few others there that were in the sort of the 5 to 10 range who haven't had the best week that they have. So thank you everyone who's listened on this ANZAC Day special broadcast here. Round number 3 coming to you from the Shannons Insurance NT iRacing E-Series. From myself, Matt Kavanagh, and Tegan Peck, my co-commentator. We can't thank you guys for tuning in. Please keep sharing the live stream. Please get it out there. We want to share the Improved Production Racing Association Facebook page with as many people as possible. Tegan Peck, I can't wait to see you next week.
Oh, mate, I am looking forward to it. I've already started checking out the Laguna Seca racetrack, and I think we are in for a treat next race meeting. They're starting to get some lap times of about 1:27 around that track, so I think we're going to see some fantastic racing when 40 race cars hit that track. And I think the championship standings will start to change all over again. And, I mean, Matty, who have we got for the next wild card? Is it you? Is it me? I actually...
Well, if they want someone, they're going to need one of us. But that means we have to step out of the commentary, yes.
Yeah, as I said that, I realised how silly it sounds. They're probably not going to ask us to get in.
We are wild.
Yeah, we're very wild.
So, you never know what's going to happen. I've seen the wild turkey you consume. Maybe you'll be the wild turkey entry.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, the wild turkey. Yeah, I like it.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. We will look to sign this one off. Make sure, if you can, jump on board to the Improved Production Racing Association Northern Territory Facebook page. Give them a like. If you can support any of our local race sponsors or the race car drivers sponsors, make sure you jump on board and support them with whichever way you can in these troubling times. And we thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all next Saturday night. Thank you and good night.